Thanks, y'all, for joining me for this episode of the HipHopHumboldt Podcast. Once again, I'm just always blessed with so many dope artists, but this time, this is some legendary shit right here. We're here right now in the studio with Eli Fowler and Mika Sun. What's up, y'all?
What's up? Thanks for having us up.
Hey, I'm really appreciative of you guys' time. Because, I know you guys are busy out there down in Sohum getting some dope shit done. So, thanks for coming up.
Of course.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. We had to make it happen. We've been planning this for a minute, coming back and doing a second one with me and bringing Meeks in, so I'm glad we can make this happen.
That's right. Yeah. You guys will remember the episode that I did with Eli Fowler. And so since there's been an album drop, and we're definitely obviously going to get into that. Mm-hmm. And whatever else you guys want to get into, I definitely want to talk, since we got Mika Sun on the podcast, I want to talk about some of the history that, that hasn't been discussed yet on the podcast, because there's been a lot of stories that kind of cross, pollinate between, Mr. Brian Swislow comes, he's talked a lot about the things that have happened in the community, but the stuff that you haven't talked about, I'd love to hear on the pod.
Yeah, mostly just coming up back in the sub-sab days with Swizz, was quite the thing for sure. We we used to just play some super dope shows. Swizz had the band Nucleus, and that was really a big just a booster for me and just confidence and things. And
heck yeah. Now Nucleus, that was before Sub-Sab.
Yeah, that was a band from New York, I think. These guys were, and they were around for days, and then they had invited Swizz, and we were rolling with him, making songs. And
dope.
Swizz is always making fucking music happen, live music. So I was just like, all right, you're gonna be doing some dope live shit. So
heck yeah,
that was one of the first dope things. Other than that, I don't know.
What was it like in the Sub-Sab days, bro? When you guys were, because you've lived in Southern Humboldt for how long? Can I ask?
I was born and raised down there out in the hills and things. So yeah.
Oh, dope. Okay.
Yeah. So
representative. That's what's up.
Yeah. It's somewhat interesting. Just getting thrown into the music life with some legends, and I was just always down to work on the craft, and we were just came up doing a lot of house parties and stuff. This guy was always game for whatever, really. So
a
lot of good times back in the day with all the Sohum crew. Yeah, it was just it was a real homey vibe. And
that's what's up. And again, like you said, Swislow. I know Swislow's kind of like this, just glue that holds a lot of different bands and people together. And so it's just from a lot of his different work, just fostering music in the community for so long that collaborations I think Humboldt County Freestyle Kings and Sub-Sab. Were you a part of Humboldt County Freestyle Kings?
No. Okay. This guy was.
And
my buddy G-Bob too. G Davis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shout out to G-Bob. Yeah.
G Davis is
still doing it.
Been rocking. Yeah. Still doing a lot of production and stuff. So it's one of the homies who started just building musically with, and so I was definitely a pre Sub-Sab type of band that we chilled with a lot, and
definitely
kind of
G Davis being part of the Freestyle Kings, and then my little stint into the Freestyle Kings, they were so gracious to let me have, definitely solidified kind of the vision that we were all collectively trying to bring to life. You know what I mean? And then we were really fortunate to link up with Swizz at the time that he was linking up with the Nucleus. And, those guys were, again, gracious enough to come into the fold and just back us doing the songs that we had written in high school. And it was just, we were really fortunate. And then, of course, Tucson, Jubal Sherman was, one of the pioneers of the Freestyle Kings, one of the leaders of that band. And
shout out to Jubal. And then after Sub-Sab, Tucson and Mika Sun would go on to make the Sun vs. Sun album. So it all kind of came full circle.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Just a lot of homie connections there.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, for sure. The Sun vs. Sun album was, again, you got to give a shout out to Just One, too. He was on the show, too, right?
Yeah, he sure was.
Right.
Yeah, J1, so he's...
J1, again,
obviously
part of the Freestyle Kings. Like, it all came...
Pioneered the same type of movement, I guess, is like a type of humble hip hop that was, needing to get brought out from the depths,
That's it.
Something different. So
Yeah.
that's what we've been trying to create.
Like, if you listen to the Freestyle Kings, a lot of those were, it was when you went to a Freestyle Kings show, you'd see the live band recreating the album, and that was like what we wanted to do. We want to record these songs, and then we'll have the live band come together and bring it to life so we can perform it live. The goal was always like, let's perform this live. Let's get this on stage and rock this shit.
Right.
And then, that's why the similarities between that band and Subliminal Sabotage are going to be, like the drum beats by Swizz and Just One, the melodies by Swizz and Just One, their collaboration together, and then percussion and beats and melodies by G Davis, and this fusion of these three musicians that went on to create the sound of Subliminal Sabotage, and then 20 years later went on to create the Write Up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
So we had this vision when we were kids of like, this is what music can do. Like, we can, build these relationships and build this friendship on this shit and this foundation. We could be brothers through this. We could do that.
Yeah.
We never had that conversation. This is just something we knew, and now 20, 30 years later, that's what we're rocking.
Yep.
Still making music. Still,
Yeah.
Yep.
Still trying to rock out for the people,
Yeah.
Make something dope.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's like, it's a constant.
Yeah, the Write Up album was sick. I know we're not there yet. We'll get into it, but the Write Up album was fire.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that was that was post Subliminal. Subsab was it was only, a good 3 or 4 years, but in those 3 or 4 years, we did a lot. We got a lot done, and we made a great impact, and we had a lot of fun doing it with a lot of great musicians that came in and performed with us and stuck by us and gave us a certain amount of credibility that we probably wouldn't have gotten on our own, in like
True.
the musicians sphere, in the music scene, playing with Swizz, playing with the Nucleus, playing with Chris Boa, and Just One and all the connections that he makes in the DJ scene. So, you know what I mean? It's all about those connections and those relationships that we've made, that we're really fortunate to be part of that. And that's kind of the mantra that we remind ourselves, which is what the Write Up was really all about, was like, hey, let's remind ourselves about, like, let's celebrate the fact that we actually accomplished just staying alive and staying sane and still representing this music. Let's define success ourselves. Hence the Write Up. I mean, me and Mika, we go back before Subsab, we were just doing any house party we could, any sound system we could, doing anything we could, just because that's just what we knew how to do.
Yeah,
you know
we
what I
used
mean?
to rock the iPod at a house party or something, just like,
Right.
hey, we're here, we're down to roll out a few songs or whatever, We're
Hell yeah.
be out in the middle of nowhere. Aux cord, we'll plug in, do a few songs, and it'd be, be lit.
Yeah,
Something
we
cool.
did that at a house party in Arcata.
Like you said, you're just keeping it going, kind of. It's not 100% planned out type of show, but we had some songs, and it was just kept building like that too back in the day. Like even from even homies that I don't know, just used to freestyle, and you still see them in freestyle, and it's just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people just love that shit, and it's like,
Hell yeah.
it's just a cool thing that, I don't know, hip hop is brought and to Soham in general, and just, I don't know, it's a fun thing. It's like, all right, yeah, we're freestyling, and next thing you know, you're writing a song. It's just like interesting progression in that way of just like, yeah, it's some cool hip hop shit to do. Like,
It's and it's you guys are at the forefront of it too though, because there's a sound that was created around here. You know what I mean? Like I talked about on one of Swislow's episodes. You know what I mean? Everybody's sound is different, but Humboldt County, the music is. I think one of the there's some traits to it. It's positive music. Is there's some other that's not positive, other music that's not positive or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's positive music. It's there's elements of cannabis culture wrapped up in the music. There's certain traits to Humboldt hip hop, you know what I mean? And you guys, I think, have been at the forefront of freestyling, especially from the Humboldt County Freestyle Kings days. And what you guys are talking about now, like you guys were continually moving freestyling at parties, moving that energy and the movement forward.
Freestyle was always a part of what we did, especially with MCP in the mix. Once it was me and Mika and Paul, I mean, we were freestyling every day after school in the basement. I mean, we would do every, kind of Harry Mack-esque study of freestyle you could do. It was like, let's go through the dictionary, let's go through the atlas, let's go through a list of colors, let's go through the alphabet, let's go through numbers, and let's just see how much we can do. Let's go through food menus, let's go through, just like, let's freestyle as much as we can about everything we can, and the more specific we got, the better we got. It's certain little things. And I mean...
Real quick, shout out to Harry Mack. You brought up Harry Mack on the episode you were on the podcast. Y'all need to check Harry Mack out. He's doing dope things.
Did I already bring him up?
You did? I think you did.
He must have made an impact on me. Because I just seen another video of him the other day.
There we go.
You know what I mean? And I love the art of freestyle. I love it when people can spontaneously come up with, a poetic sandcastle in a moment and then just watch it dissipate.
Yeah. Pretty zen like that. So
it is
it's
very
an interesting
zen.
art form. Like they're just like, there's this little snippet of what I'm feeling, and then to then perfect that and kind of mix through song, and that's again part of the journey of that. I guess where I don't know. I guess not 100% like speaking, but progressed from that like freestyling to songwriting. And, trying to just bring some dope that we could stand behind more. It's like, all right, here we go.
Definitely for us, we started freestyling.
Let's stand behind this a little more. Yeah. Let's solidify a couple. Just progressed to shit.
It's like
rap with this dude or this guy, and then it's like
we
shit.
Freestyled ourselves.
Like you were saying before, you build these relationships, and it's like holy shit, you can. Yeah, almost. Yeah, like you can. Yeah. Put yourself in a vision and a trance that way too. You're just like, all right, this is what we're gonna do here. Like,
facts.
I don't know. It's interesting. So I guess it's a focus thing, trying to focus your brain and get yourself to the next level. It's some sort of training, I guess. I don't know.
And Paul was always, Paul always had a knack for it. The way we kind of described our trifecta as MCs for Subsab was like, I was a stage clown, I was like a carnival barker. I'd get your attention. Mika was thought-provoking, had the deep voice. And then Paul was like the secret weapon, MC Problematic. We called him that for a reason. The kid was a
line,
problem.
and sinker.
Hook, line, and sinker. He was the one.
I don't think we ever said that, but when you say it now. Like,
he was the one, man, and he would.
Kind of was.
It was. No, it really was. That's a great way to put it. He would, he would just blow people's minds, especially when it came to us freestyling and when we would get on stage, and because, it's and we're by no means like the best freestyle rappers you've ever heard. You know what I mean? It's just something that we were able to do in that time.
That's not.
We were really tight, and we were also, again, really fortunate to have this insane safety net of this incredibly talented band behind us rocking shit. So it's like everything we do is gonna sound fucking great because we're rocking with the Nucleus.
You're trading 4s and 8s, and you got just so much going on. It's
so much going on.
This guy can do, all of a sudden do
and
his
Mike
thing.
Lee, and then there was
shout out to Mike Lee, rest in peace.
Mike Lee.
Yeah, wow, for real.
I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to, and you definitely don't have to, of course. But was there anything that you guys wanted to like talk about concerning like Mike Lee? Because I know that, again, Swizz has hit on a few things. Mm-hmm. You hit on some things when you were on Just One. I think might have touched on Mike Lee real quick. What would you guys, if you wanted to say anything?
I don't know if we ever actually sat down and we were like, the Write Up album is going to be for, a remembrance of Mike Lee album. I think it just kind of came about that way, where it was like, we've got all this stuff,
Yeah, it kind of wrote itself. Yeah, they're just looking through these beats and some of them we'd already chosen, and then it's like, oh, he did something on that or whatever. It's just like, oh shit, he was like a glue that you didn't even.
Right.
I don't know.
But at the same time, when you listen to like the Mika Sun Strategic Vision, you listen to my old stuff, a lot of our music is oriented around friends that we've lost. That's the energy we bring to the table, is remembrance. That's one of our, that's one of our tools for when we're writing. We use that as a tool. It's like, and so to have those beats and then to write those songs is just kind of a natural progression. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's why they're not it's not like a sad album, but it certainly has an element of remembrance to it.
Yeah.
And we had been going through a lot. So it was like the fact that that album can bring about Mike Lee's memory, intentionally or otherwise, I mean, that's just kind of a gift that came with it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That just came about. We're like, oh man, that's pretty.
Yeah, he was a big part of the whole history of the band, and just like I said, it was like, of course, like this is what it is. This is the foundation of how this shit all pushed forward and through. It's just like, okay, this is, this one's for Mike, like for sure, like why not? And it shows you, like you always, like you were kind of saying, it's like life is short or whatever. It's like, okay, let's get one done for Mike. Something that's can keep pushing that style forward, because he would he was all about it.
He was all about it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That spirit, that rebel music, man. That, like, move your shit. So we're just, trying to keep moving a culture forward, I suppose. And it's dope that what you're doing too is like a whole nother like huge thing. And it's like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm. Hey, thanks.
A lot of cool shit to just be like in remembrance of, like, oh shit.
Right.
Like,
Right.
There you go. It does, like you're saying, music is interesting. It's it hits a lot of different places and bounces around. You're like, oh shit. Like,
right. It's
cool.
like that.
That's why it's cool getting invited up here. Like, of course, this guy's always the one motivating me. Like you said, I'm just fairly elusive, just trying to just do my thing, kind of studio gangster kind of guy. So you could probably relate.
That's how to do it with music, man. No, you don't want to be too accessible. You don't want to be too
it's all changing. It's whatever. Yeah.
That's me, Mr. Accessible.
But, hey, everybody runs their brands differently, you know what I mean? But I've talked about that on this podcast with other people, where, especially now in the social media age, there's this kind of thought about like scarcity and how do you want to put yourself out there? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Everybody does it differently. It's dope,
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, on social media, it's just like, I don't know. I just always want to be creative. It's a lot of work to be creative on everything, and it's like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. I don't just want to like you said, just want to put out random stuff. I'm like, get stuck in trying to really get something creative out there. So.
Right. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. We started doing this in a time when we were burning CDs at home, pulling apart jewel cases, putting them together. You heard Mental Case. It was the same exact thing in Sohum. Mm-hmm. This is what we were doing to get our songs out there, to get ourselves out there. Mm-hmm. Not in any way to be like, we're going to sell these CDs and we're going to make a bunch of money. But it's like, the more people hear us, the more people are going to come to our shows when we perform. Because the goal is always to perform live. That's always what we're facing. You know what I mean? That was always the end game. It was like, where are we going to perform these songs at? Mm-hmm. So the drive of that, like, and then to go back with what you're saying about like remembrance and Mike Lee, and we write these songs for our homies because we believe, you die twice. You die when you die, and you die when your friends stop saying your name. So we make those songs, we say his name, then people hear him, we get to come on here on the podcast and talk about him. More people keep talking, and that story continues. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's just a tool we've learned to to cope.
Right.
Straight up.
Some ways.
Yeah.
And that's
why it's always in there, you know. Oh shit!
It's always in there. It's always a part of it. Almost every single song we have has a line about our friends.
Right,
almost every single one. Either me or Mika says something about the past or the homies or the family or the future. You know what I mean? No matter what song it is.
Yeah.
That's just the bedrock.
That's something with just me and Eli's music too. It's a weird kind of just connection because we've just had so many of the same homies and the same shit. It's just like we can just like come together on some shit kind of serendipitously and just be like, oh shit, here's like same but different. It's like,
same but different. And then it's
so that always kind of works.
For better or worse.
For better or worse, of course. I mean, yeah.
For better or worse.
But
it does work out like that. You know, somehow we always land relatively on the same page. You know.
Yeah.
I definitely, I personally have more respect, I'd say, for people that operate like you guys, that are, you know, more wanting to remember the homies, you know what I mean, and show respect for the, you know, what they've done, you know what I mean. There's a lot of people that, you know, I think that's this, you know, there's this interesting thing now, whether it's just with young people. And I don't want to. There's this interesting thing now, as hip hop is now not just hip hop. It's a large part of pop culture, and it's a large part of what kids see and how they interoperate and everything, right? And so that there's this kind of energy now that we've strayed away from showing respect to the elders, the people that have paved paths, the people that have done the right things, and, you know, and really fostered a lot of things. We've moved away from that, and now it's, you know, these kids are more just let's forget that. Let's just be disrespectful. And so I'm from the opposite camp, man. Whether I'm only 38 years old, you know what I'm saying, but I'm always thinking in the same method as you guys are talking about, of showing remembrance and showing respect to people. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, right. Well, we got to pay homage. I mean, that's like you said. We're not the ultimate dopest in any way. We're just fucking repping our shit. So it's like, got to pay homage to pretty much every little piece of it. So it's
the people that have let the
people that, you know, you're just like, damn, it's, you know, you might not think it's a lot, but you start thinking back on it, you're like, damn, there's a lot of different people just keep you moving forward on it. So it's crucial. And yeah, big ups to everyone on all the albums I've been on. You know, there's a lot. Big ups to fucking Abdi Hussein out there in the world, and, you know, it's like, what the hell? It's crazy. Had that full on the album, little Soham, and, you know, it all comes back down. Just little trinkets of just, I don't know. I guess it's again, like a teaching. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Each one teach one, and just keep building
that's it.
A thing. And I don't know. Again, no disrespect to anyone who's just out there trying to, you know, be creative in any way. I really, you know, I appreciate a lot of the shit that you said is more like just egocentric and like that too. It's like that's dope too.
Yeah,
but we're kind of just on a different tip, at least in what we do, especially when me and he get together, but in general, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, some of my shit, yeah, it's a little more political sometimes, but that's just something I try to be on, just because, you know. So
it's good to be worldly minded, you know.
Yeah, just
it's fun. You got to find your balance, but, you know, definitely got to be, you know, it's cognizant of what's going on.
Timeless art form too, just like, you know, balance and shit, balance and powers. It's just like, always kind of works in weird ways with just throwing together rhymes. So it's something I've always, you know, and yeah, back to MCP too. He was always like, just fucking revise your shit, and you know, you can fucking get on some cool shit, and especially with like, trying to be more, like you said, worldly, and, you know, putting together these crazier concepts. It's like, all right, let's expand and try to, you know, read up on some of this shit, whatever, you know. So I don't know. I'm sure that's what most people are doing, but that's, you know, a big part of what I'd be doing, just, you know, trying to expand expand the brain and keep pushing forward some new thoughts, some new ways of being and shit.
Hey, to be real about it, that's hip hop. Like exactly what you're explaining right now. That's completely hip hop. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
being alert about what's going on around you. You
Growth
know,
and
implementing it.
self-expression. Yeah. You know,
yeah.
that's
It's art. It's an art project, I suppose.
it's the art project of life, right? I mean, and so
Yeah.
we're just here, you know, doing what we. This is just like a vehicle that kind of landed in our laps, and we were like, "Yo, let's work towards earning this." You know, and just what we've been trying to do for the
good way to
last
put it.
25 years. You know.
I really liked hearing something that you said a few minutes ago, Eli. I think it's something that folks need to listen to when they're hearing this podcast. You were saying the goal for you guys was always to perform live. That's something that when I heard that, like I think about what just in general. I ain't talking about anybody in specific. You know, I'm just saying in general what the MO for whether it's younger artists or artists that are out there. It's, you know, the goal is more like, well, let me make music. Let me make the music. You know what I'm saying? But you guys had a different goal. You guys were already just collaborating so much, and there was so much chemistry. You guys were already making a lot of music, and being wordsmiths and freestyling, you be able to just on the fly, with whatever beats coming up. It's a different element of things.
Yeah, and there's, you know, there's no wrong way to go about it. You know what I mean? Anytime that there's any sort of artists that are like, this is the rules for how you do this. I'm like, no, I don't believe in that. Just because we were like, we want to perform these songs doesn't mean that's the way that we think it needs to be done. We don't hold ourselves up to a higher standard because of that. You know what I mean? We don't compare ourselves. That's just our story. You know what I mean? If you're like, I have such a prolific brain that I'm going to go into the studio for the next decade and make 1,000 albums, fucking go for it, dude. Rock and roll. Like, I love it. Totally here for it. This just happens to be our path. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. That being said, like, we were really fortunate to grow up in Sohum where the performing arts was kind of a big deal. Where we had, like, you know, Feet First and the Redwood, you know, every year we'd have the San Francisco Mime Troupe would come up. We'd have different performances from different local groups, and we were just always kind of, you know, around that. A lot of our parents' friends were performers, so we knew these people. They were our teachers when we were kids, you know, so we knew these people, and we looked up to them. They were like our, you know, they were our kind of our mentors and our teachers and our parents, you know. And
teachers,
so that's what that was just the footsteps we followed. You know what I mean? And again, there's no wrong way to do it. And who would we be to say, this is how you should do anything? You know what I mean? That's not on us. We're not referees of life. You know, I'm not here to get in your way. Rock and roll. You know, I'm here for every MC who decides to pick up a pen, as long as you're not like out there harming somebody, whatever it is in your life that you're doing, right? I'm here to like support or get out of the way, right? Is that what Kyle Kinane says? Like, I'm all about it. Like, I'm not. Yeah. So.
But it's interesting because it shows that there's other paths to take than what people just think this is like. You know, we get locked in these routines of what's expected of you. You know what I mean? You're expected to like go to school and then like go to, you know, there's like the whole like formula and all that shit. And if you're outside that formula, certain people might look at you funny and all that type of nonsense, right? And so there's these formulas, and people get locked and stepped into, well, I grew up just like in the, you know, a lot of these kids that are out there right now listening to hip hop, you know, they started to grow up and it was moving towards the digital age.
Right. Yeah. The landscape has completely shifted. How you absorb music has completely shifted. How you view the artist has completely shifted. How you get to know the artist and how you support that person and how you know what I mean? How you compare that artist to another artist has completely shifted.
All
those things have changed.
Instant.
Yeah, everything has changed.
Everyone's just
you get instant access to your
moving fast and doing a lot of stuff, like keeping up with the times, being able to,
that's on us. You know what I mean? The times aren't going to wait for anybody.
So
nothing's going to wait for you. You know, time cares about you the least of anything. Right? So like, it's us to like keep up. We're not going to be like the old man on our lawns being like, they used to rap one way and now they rap a different way and I don't like it anymore. That's not my role.
Right.
You know, I'm here to support. I'm a fan.
For real. I like it all.
Like it all.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, hopefully folks are listening to this and are like, all right, then I can go out there and freestyle too, come out to the Fatbol Cypher and get on the mic.
Absolutely. Like, especially in this digital age, if you're looking at it from whichever standpoint you're looking at it, if you want to get better at your craft as a writer, as a fan, as a performer, come on out to the Cypher. If you want to big up your brand on your social media, come on out to the Cypher. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you're trying to like get some merch out and you're trying to do, actual hand-to-hand transactions like that, come on out to the Cypher. That's your audience. That's your crowd. That's your people. Those are your supporters. That's your family. You know what I mean?
The meetup.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would say absolutely. I mean, the Cypher is become a great hub for that community, for, the entire Humboldt hip hop community that now exists.
Crazy how long that's been going on.
It's crazy how long it's been going on. Shout out to Knack One, almost 10 years. Shouts out to Knack.
Big ups to the man.
He's been freestyling nonstop since that first Cypher 10 years ago.
Seriously.
That's how good he is. That's what he's up to. That's Knack.
People don't realize how that's not an easy thing to get up there, even to just freestyle. Even to just freestyle for a few minutes, it's not easy. But Knack One will get on the mic and just for 3 hours, practically nonstop, just go off the dome. That is
off the dome, and he won't. I don't know how he keeps his rhymes in check, but he doesn't repeat himself, which is something that blows my mind. I've seen him go for like 3 hours, and I'm like, by the third hour, I'm like, you keep doing fresh shit.
Yep.
It's kind of nasty.
He's literally got that vernacular.
He's got that vernacular.
Shout out to the whole Fantastic family.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
I was bummed that I missed, and again, I keep trying to move forward to the right up, but we can always pull it back. I was bummed that I ended up getting sick and missed you guys at. I forget if it was a Fatbol Cypher, but I think it was a Fatbol Cypher dedicated to the write-up, and you guys did a show.
Yeah, that was like the release, basically.
At the Epitome Gallery.
That's right, yeah.
That's when we released the album.
That was just a small kind of gathering and celebration for us. Julia was gracious enough to let us have that space and Knack, of course, collaborated with us with bringing the Fatbol Cypher to our, conjoining the two ideas and we had a good time. Absolutely. It was a nice cold night.
Super dope.
In Eureka. We had a blast.
Yeah. I was glad that gent that's, was covering Humboldt hip hop now kind of back on the scene and helping, support hip hop getting out there in the media locally. Bob Doran was out there. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to see more and more people getting photos, video of events, hip-hop events that are happening in Humboldt County, because we need more of that. There hasn't been that kind of thing. Yeah. We need that exposure.
I agree.
And everybody. It's about reaching a critical mass.
I agree. I mean, I think Bob's been taking my picture for the last 20 years, and I don't know how he manages to make it out to as many shows as he does, because he seems to be everywhere.
Mm-hmm. He's been around.
He does like I don't know how he's like Spider-Man. He just shows up.
Yeah.
And and yet somehow you see him all night, and yet he was at some other party at the same time. I don't know how he does it. He's got some like Doctor Strange going on.
True.
Yeah.
But I agree, and I've never been very good at it. We used to have not a lot, but we used to have some great documentarians that would follow us around the Sub-Sab days. Shout outs to Bryce Iris, shout out to Zanman. We used to have some really, some great people that would show up with cameras and put in that time back in those days before social media and before the cell phone camera, when you actually had to bring your gear.
Little cam.
And looking back now, we're like, wow, what a special thing that those people took their time and their energy and their expensive equipment and came to our insane shows at HSU and at the Jam and at Humbrew's and filmed us, you know, just getting completely nuts on stage.
Documented some madness.
Some madness, yeah.
Heck yeah.
Gotta hit up Bryce Iris.
Yeah.
Shout out.
There's some good footage floating around out there, I bet.
It's out
rogue.
there. It's out there, yeah.
Rogue footage.
Since you were talking about the places that you guys performed, I want to bet, and I could be completely wrong about this, but Subsab, did you guys do, was Summer Music and Arts going on back
Summer
then?
Arts and Music Yeah, Summer Arts and Music Festival's
pretty
been
much
going
grew
on.
up at that festival.
I mean, me and Mika have been going in that festival since way before we ever started playing it, you know, and same with Reggae on the River.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up at these festivals.
Yeah,
You know?
shout outs to Reggae on the River. Bring
Yeah.
that one back.
Yeah.
That was definitely the jam back in the day that just brought us up, you know, with that rebel music, that vibe.
Yep,
So-
the culture.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the Mateel,
Vibe,
Reggae on the River, Summer Arts Fair,
music, yeah.
that influenced our whole thing. Like,
Yeah, every song, that's what you do.
I think a big part of it, and I mean, maybe not a big part of it, but certainly a part of it was that back in the day in the Mateel, when you were a kid and you got like really tired, there was a room where the kids could go pass out, which is now just like a storage room. But that room was kind of upstairs and just kind of back of the stage, right?
Okay.
And so that's where, you know, late at night as the parties kept going, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, the kids would end up kind of running around outside that room or running around in that room. And so you had a view that went directly back, kind of the back of the stage, where you'd be watching the bassist and the drummer and the percussionist
Little backstage.
and, you know, the tech back there, and they're working, but you got like a perfect sound monitor sound coming off, bouncing upstairs.
Oh, man.
And that's where we would sit there and watch these shows, watch, you know, just the most amazing world-renowned reggae bands come through, you know,
Big
our
ups
tiny
to the
little
Mateel.
town. Yeah.
Big ups to the Mateel.
You know,
And all, just, yeah.
That's dope.
Back to that
That's
thing,
dope.
just
Reggae on the River, Summer Arts Fair.
community founded for sure, and just built on that. So, yeah, that's why we try to still hold those down for sure.
I'm glad that Mateel's still rolling out there. Shout out to the Mateel. you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shouts out to the Mateel Community Center. I mean, that was our, you know, a Subliminal Sabotage. Officially, I think that was like our second show, was at the
Right.
Mateel.
Oh,
You know,
shit,
and we
that's
played
crazy.
so many shows there.
That's a big ass venue for your
After.
second show. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, shout out to Condor. That was the sold out show. That was our like
Big up
second
to this
show.
guy, yeah,
You know,
making shit happen.
we had a good time. We had a good run. Subsab was a blast, you know, and the fact that the Mateel was always so generous to us, that Carol Bruno was so generous to put us up at Reggae on the River, that KMUD was always so generous to pump our music and to big us up. Like, we had a lot of great backing because of our small community, you know. And I think it's also because they knew that even though at the time Subliminal Sabotage was young, we were raucous, not all of our music was as, you know, the write-up is a lot more kind of growth-centric. Subsab had all those elements, but we were partying, you know what I mean? And they still pushed
pretty
us.
raucous.
All of our elders still were like, pushed us and you know, bigged us up and told us to go forward. And I think they saw the vision, you know. They saw at least what we were trying to. They saw the intent.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there's some tough stuff to get through sometimes when you're doing that. Darker side of it too. It's like, all right, shit,
Oh, you guys were in it. Oh, yeah.
get through it. You know, well, yeah, you know, coming of age type of stuff. Like, yeah, you're pretty in it and just trying to figure shit out. So there's definitely some angst coming out. some stuff coming through. So it was like, oh shit. I'm sure there was definitely some questions. These boys are gonna make it through this madness. I think we're just continuing to show that, yeah, got some poise to keep repping and yeah.
Would you guys say that I want to just like, you know, because there's so many artists around here trying to do shows, trying to get to shows and things like that. So to hear you guys' second show was at the Mateel, would you say it was a quick rise to like where you guys were at that when you guys did the Mateel? Like, was it a pretty quick rise, would you say, or?
I mean, I don't know if I would say it was a quick rise, but we came out the gate swinging.
Yeah,
because we had the music, we had the team, we had some forward momentum coming out of the gate. We had a little bit of a hype because we had just been like doing so much insane stuff at different house parties. So when we had a record release, and then we did the Subliminal Sabotage, Sub-Sab like together officially. And so we just came out the gate swinging. I mean, we still had to grind. Over the years of Sub-Sab, we still played, the empty show. We played the house party. We played, we did the sold out show. We played the empty hall. We played the night that the bar was packed and the night that the bar was totally empty. We did it all. And so we were still cutting our teeth, as we were grinding upwards. But we did come out of the gate swinging.
We didn't really know what we were doing, like marketing and trying to. No, we were just making CDs and stickers and whatever. Yeah. T-shirts. Again, big up to Jubal. He was the T-shirt fucking G.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
So just seeing that kind of hustle, just make some products and be able to. Yeah,
push
your way forward on something like music. Mm-hmm. See the potential, but it's definitely a grind. I remember first time trying to sell CDs, and it was just like, oh shit, this is a fucking grind, bro. Like this is not fun. Like, but
we had like
that's when you're like, oh, but we could, but we remember, we perform live, like that shit was fun as hell. Like,
and we had those other outlets like Fatbol and SHC, and
you make this little calling card, and you're just next thing you know, some dope will pop off, and
yeah. I mean, we performed at Wild Horse
scene,
back in the day. Rest in peace to
get
Wild
back
Horse
into
Records.
it more. Yeah, Wild Horse.
Wild Horse, that was like a 12-person venue.
About the size of this garage.
That was smaller than this garage, and full of records.
Oh shit!
Yeah, right. Tiny little spot.
Including space for the band and everybody playing.
Oh no, that would just be me and Mika rocking with like a CD, or a Sony mini disc, or something like that.
A couple beats.
Were you guys actually? Because you said earlier, like, I mean, that's it's all about how you're getting your music out there, and you had to do what you had to do. You know what I mean? Like, you were saying earlier, you guys had it on an iPod, just plug, because you'd just be able to plug it in the iPod.
Somehow we got a hold of an iPod. Yeah, started, be like DJ minded. You're like, oh shit, I got this iPod full of tunes. Mm-hmm. No problem. Plug it in pretty much anything.
Yep. I mean, iPod, CD.
We were all just getting into that, like media was just going crazy. So you're just
cassette tape.
This is not hard. Yeah, mini disc. We kind of went through like a crazy change of all kinds of technologies. Oh shit.
Yeah,
no problem. But
it's hard when that shit's moving fast too. Like mini disc, you know what I'm saying?
And we had,
it was big for a bit. You know what I'm saying? And you guys are having to like navigate that while still trying to get your music out there in the best way that people are gonna pick it up. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. It's not easy when the shit's changing like that.
We saw the transition from analog to digital. We got there at the tail end of the analog era. Mm-hmm. We started recording kind of on ADAT right away, which was right in the middle of the two. It's like digital tape.
Mm-hmm.
Slow down.
And so it took us a minute. I mean, we're still like the Write Up album's still getting pressed out on CDs. We're still of the CD era. We're still 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, CDs are.
But
CDs are the shit.
Yeah, some of those physical mediums are what's up though. Yeah.
Columbia House.
CDs are the shit. Whatever.
Hell yeah.
Hook 'em.
No, dude. Like, I think CDs are making a come as we're so far down now. There's digital realm and all this, streaming and all that. Mm-hmm. Having something physical means something.
I agree. That's what we believe in too. Like, having something physical means something. I get it. Music as a business has completely shifted, and it's gone to this digital landscape, and and music itself is like, you know, used as a vehicle to sell a different experience and a different idea, and I understand that. But it's still something that we hold sacred. It's still something that we have a lot of respect for every opportunity we get to do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's something that we have to, not have to, but it's something that we remind ourselves. You know, when we're rapping those get grown kind of songs, we're talking to ourselves. I'm like, you got to figure this out. It's like, who am I talking to? I'm talking to me. You know, Mika's talking to him.
That's for sure.
So it's like,
it's weird when you realize that shit. Oh, yeah.
I think
on that song.
Yeah.
You're all damn. Going through some shit.
Going through some shit. Who was I talking to when I was telling him to figure this shit out?
Yeah.
I must be going through it.
And the fans be wanting to hear that too. That's what they hear from you guys, and then they become interested in like what you guys are talking about. That's what they're trying to listen to. You know?
Right.
Yeah. Trying to identify with your people. It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's all about touching your people. That's the thing. If you're not touching your audience of people, you know, then you're slowly losing them, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But once you touch somebody, they're gonna remember you. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, whether it's the CD medium, it kind of transports people back. That's why I think these mediums are making a comeback.
That's why vinyl's
exactly
all big right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
More vinyls were
a
sold
collector
last
culture
year.
and like you said, an homage culture too, which is a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have these things physically that are like important. There's always, you know, there's always a lot of new stuff, but it's good to have your roots solid like that, and then I mean it's good to have your whatever your Spotify too. Mm-hmm. So it's always good to have that good mix of vibe, which is, you know, there's probably a lot of levels to it.
Yeah,
but I mean, just in general, it's like,
and it's shifted and it's different, but it's not.
You can get.
It's not different. It's just expanded. I mean,
you can get lost out there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a big, broad map, and there's no, you know, there's a lot of pitfalls, but there's no wrong way to start.
Right.
I mean, we were rapping when MySpace came out, and that was like, whoa, you know. When we saw MySpace the first time, there was only one band on MySpace that I'd ever even heard of before, and it was Public Enemy. And I was like, okay, Public Enemy's on MySpace. They got there early. They were like week 3. They were on that shit. And I was like, all right, if they're doing it, I'm doing it, you know?
Mm-hmm. MySpace was big.
MySpace was huge, you know? What's up, Tom? And we, so... And that was the beginning of it, and now it's all instant, and it's, you know, everybody can access as much information as they need to at the click of their hands, and that's great. Mm-hmm. I'm all for it. That's awesome. That doesn't take away from the value of having a tangible good in your hand, something that somebody made, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I was selling CDs not that long ago at a show, and a guy kind of scoffed at me. It's like, CDs, like $10, CDs.
It's always been a hard sell, though.
You know, it's not an easy sell, but at the same time, it made me realize, like,
it's not an easy sell.
Fuck, you know, because you're looking at it like that, it makes me value it that much more. Because I understand what you're missing. I know what you don't. I get the secret. And yeah, $10 a CD. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, man. No, seriously though, that's the thing about it is with this digital age and everything like that, you know, you never know what direction things will go. You know, you never know. I mean, I use DistroKid, and you have to keep your subscription paid for to keep the music on Spotify and all those other platforms. You can pay an extra like $30 fee per track to keep it on there permanently or whatever. But if you're not doing that and you stop paying for your DistroKid account, your music's off of there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's made it different now. I think that the music now is more of like a piece of the marketing. You know what I'm saying? Where the money's made is like you're talking about physical, whether it's gear, physicals. That's where you make money. You're only making like pennies on the streaming. You know what I'm saying? And so the money is made in the gear. That's what people that like go around doing big festivals, they know the gear is the merch.
It's all about your merch.
Cool, cool merch. Yeah.
That's why I come in. I got, I'm making all my own shit. I keep my overhead real low. Come in, I got the magnets, the stickers, the pins, the mugs, the t-shirts. I'm gonna have the hoodies soon, the beanies.
There we go. See, that's what's up. That's smart marketing. Hoodies. I think around here it's important to do marketing that's gonna set yourself apart. And a lot of people just really don't know how to market themselves, aren't doing marketing. So I love seeing it. I love the stuff you've already given me. Shout out to you for giving me those the magnets. That was high quality, bro. I got respect. Because I'm a little crafter here, as you see too.
That's all I'm saying. I see all your gear.
The marketing game is crucial now.
That's my strategy.
Reinventing yourself.
Yeah, gotta remind yourself like this is just sandcastle shit. We're just trying to,
Try to enjoy life. It's a thing you got to do. It's definitely.
And that doesn't mean like we don't grind at what we do. You know what I mean? We practice, we communicate and contact, and we build those relationships, and we get those shows, and we, able to make those friendships and make those connections.
Right.
But I've always tried not to take myself too seriously as an MC. I might have overstepped that now and then, but at this stage of my life, I try to remind myself of that.
Right.
That's just me.
The humble MC.
Yeah.
No, that's
because I know I can rock shit. That's why I know when time comes, the microphone's out. Like I'm gonna fucking rock shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna throw down. So. It's all whatever to me.
Yep. No, that's grown man shit.
The adrenaline hits.
Yeah.
It's an adrenaline sport in that way. It's like,
It's and again, that's why I love how you said that mental push-ups. Because that flows back to building the skills to freestyle. Again, you can come down to the Fatbol freestyle. You need to be in front of people. Actually doing it and building that,
Especially freestyling is really hard to build up the skill set alone in a vacuum because you have no idea, it's just bouncing off the walls back into your own head.
No.
You got to be out there with friends so they can, laugh at the laugh at what they laugh. Yeah, it's a friendship thing. Absolutely.
That's what you do with your little crew.
Yeah,
And go ahead.
I just any cipher, I encourage any MC that wants to perform, anybody that wants to perform vocally or really in any capacity, I encourage to go out to any sort of cipher, Fatbol Cypher, Under the Bridge Cypher, any sort of open mic. I even say karaoke. Karaoke is a great tool for getting over stage fright, learning how to hold a microphone, breath control, stamina, things like that. Like getting over the shakes and and we get nervous every time we go up. Every time.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
You got to.
You have to.
A little bit.
You have to.
Psych yourself up. That's what the show is.
I'm not Taylor Swift. I don't know. I'm not.
It can go either way.
I'm gonna go just like crush it.
Go either way on you. But no.
Shout out to Just One, still doing the Fatbol Cyphers.
Still rocking. Yeah, big ups to all the DJs for sure. That's the big thing. Just keep listening to the good tunes. Like I said, get lost out there. There's a lot going on. So blessed to have a lot of people like that around. Just bringing the good tunes.
On the Write Up album, so I know it was Just One producing. Swislow was on some of whether it was keys and some other production aspects too.
Yeah, I mean Swizz and Just One and G Davis. I mean, were really collaborative on that album. G Davis, we wish had more of a role in the production, but as far as the
timeline
of the beats,
album,
the timeline of the album, even as far back as Subsab, again, the bulk of our music was the collaboration of Just One and Swizz, with Just One laying down drum and bass tracks, Swizz laying down drum and melody tracks.
Melody and drums usually.
And that was the recipe that, we always kind of just gravitated towards. When they lay out the beats, we'd be like, oh, these are the ones we like, and those are always the ones that they worked on together. Mm-hmm. And so, the write-up is just kind of accentuates that production aspect, I mean, those guys got so many, they've been working together for so long. Shouts out to Swizz and Just One, they put out the Nika album.
Yeah.
They've been working together for a long time, Freestyle King days. So, their collaboration has a definite sound to it, a certain sound, and that's the backbone of a lot of what we do.
Mixture of sounds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pretty fire.
Yeah, no, I love both of their production. Those Just One beats, Just One has this ability to, he's from the East Coast, but he's definitely he can do that West Coast sound without a doubt. The sawtooth on that G-funk kind of sound, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's been out in the West a long time now.
He's been out for a minute.
Starting to wear off on him.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we've been working with those guys for so long, it's like not only we initially just started gravitating towards beats that they had made together, but then, of course, as they create beats together longer and we keep writing to them, now they're starting to make beats that they think are going to work well for us. You know what I mean? And then that's when the real collaboration comes in. Mm-hmm. That's when they step in. They're, it's not just like they're making a beat and we're writing lyrics. It's like we're all making a song together. We all come together. We arrange it. We all have our ideas. We're all in the room together figuring it out. Often the conversation is like, well, how would we do this live? Well, then let's think about how we should arrange it in the studio. What's a dope intro live? Well, that would be a dope intro here, or a different version of that we could recreate later. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like it's all a collaborative thing, with Galen and Paul and whoever's in the studio with us, because that's just how we've always done shit. Now we did do that song with Knack. Knack once sent in his track. He recorded at home and sent it in. Which is fine. This track is fire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This verse is fire. Rock and roll. You know what I mean? But we always love having people come in, working with us, so we can all be in the room together. That's just the vibe, for sure. We were writing and rehearsing during the pandemic, masks on, outside next, we'd take them off once we got out into the little garden area, but we were being righteous about it. And,
yeah.
We had,
and but we were definitely doing it. Mm-hmm. It's like we gotta get this done. We gotta.
People were still getting together, but people were still partying and all that shit.
Yeah.
But they weren't still That's what a lot of people on this pod have talked about. The pandemic, slowed them down, put them all at a standstill, right? You know what I'm saying? But nah, that's dope.
No, we just kept grinding right through it.
For the most part,
most part. I mean, we just kept.
We work with a lot of close family too, so it's just,
Exactly. It's like we're all together anyway.
Yeah.
We're already, what was it, the tight circle,
But,
a bubble.
Obviously, like you said, it's not like there wasn't the, all the things that go along with it, the talks and the, you're going to wear your mask for that. Or, like you said, you're going to keep your,
all of
just
it.
all, there's a lot of discussions. Did you get your thing? And, whatever. It's just,
I know. There's all those elements. And now,
we
we literally.
Trying to manage it. It's interesting. So,
That's it. Everybody had to just do their best,
Yeah.
And now we're literally crossing over into this threshold where, I think government-wise, there's now, no longer any restrictions or nothing like that. And so, really, everybody's ready to get back out there. There's a lot of shows that are rolling, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that are popping in the community. hip hop in Humboldt County is just growing more and more. I think there's a lot of young artists.
There's a great wave hitting right now. There's a great wave of Humboldt County. It comes in waves. It always has. And there's a great wave smashing right now. Absolutely. And the synergy that you were talking about, like, you know, reaching out to not only other MCs and producers and DJs and crews, but venues and sponsors and, you know, whoever else your homie has, like, his at-home business. Like, you're sponsored by his soap now. And then you do whatever, you know what I mean? Making those little moves, you know, building that community and building that scene. That's just, like, what it's all about. That just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's just, like, how you create that web.
Radio appearances, like you said, you telling me, I think before the show, you're going to be on Goldilocks show, Just Right, coming up, was it?
No, me and Mika did.
We did that a while ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that.
And then tomorrow we're going to go hang out with Bob.
That's right. You're going to see Bob tomorrow. You are. That's dope.
Yeah. But shouts out to Goldilocks on K-Hum. He had us up. We got up there and spoke about the write-up. We did a couple of songs. You know what I mean? Got to hang out with our homie Goldie for a second. It was a good time. Always a blast.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been holding hip-hop down around here for so long, Goldilocks has, man. And he's such a, I don't even want to say a soldier because he's definitely a general, but he's just always working just so hard to just continue to move the bar forward for the culture.
Yeah, he really does. He works really hard at it, and he does it with grace. That's what's up with Goldie. So shouts out to Jay all day, all day. Yeah, you know, he was gracious enough to have us on there. We went and hung out with him. We went and hung out with Lisa Love down on KMUD Radio and spoke about the album. You know, so we got to move around town a little bit and talk to a couple different people and tell a couple different sides of different stories about the Write Up album. You know what I mean? And it was definitely, it was a process, you know. I don't know if it would have taken so long if there was no pandemic, but regardless, it was I don't know. It might have taken 3 years, you know. It might have taken 3 years, even if there was no pandemic, because we were like kind of all transitioning through different things in our lives. All sorts of like really heavy shit was going down for all of us. As we're writing, as we're recording, as we're trying to meet up and get on the same schedule and come up with these game plans, you know.
Right.
We're doing music videos before the album's even done. We got the whole, you know what I mean? We had this whole insane thing that we were trying to do with the 6 or 7 of us, 8 of us, whoever else was coming on in to help for that day, you know.
That's a lot of people to coordinate.
Shouts out to Kashta, shouts out to Pounds, you know, shouts out to everyone that came through to, you know, there was a lot of hands on the project.
Behind the scenes.
A lot of behind the scenes help that we needed, you know.
You don't even remember. You're like, I don't remember. It was
they were down.
There were people there.
Yeah. We needed those hands. And it was like, so it was a long process. But it was a process of love. It was something we were totally looking forward to doing. We had been talking about it for a while. We kind of jumped in the deep end and went for it, and and we took our time with it and really tried to like put out something that we thought was cohesive, that it made sense as an album from start to finish. You know what I mean? Because again, how people consume music has completely changed, but we still focus on the album.
Right.
How, you know, how this project is going to be delivered, how they're going to hear it and receive it, how they're going to remember it when they see us live. They'll be like, oh yeah, that's track 8. You know what I mean? So we tried to take our time, make something that we could be proud of.
And that's just the approach too. We're just like, we're going to make an album, you know, together or whatever. So it's like, the approach is going to be that way. It's, you know, you're going to be trying to get on the same page with a bunch of people. You're going to be, you know, taking your time in all these different ways. And like, of course, yeah, we're all going through shit. So then you're just, you know, that's kind of the lesson of that. Just learning we're all battling through it, and it's just a blessing when you're able to just get together and keep a dream alive and some visions in check and in order. So,
right. And the whole thing was, you know, and then it was a bittersweet day when we finally did release it. You know, much more bitter than sweet. Unfortunately, you know, the whole thing was about growth and remembrance, and we had been going through all this shit. We lost our good homie Brando. We lost, a bunch of loved ones. My dad passed away. Jim passed away. We lost, just people were passing away. Like, we gotta get this album out. Transition. We put that album
Didn't
out.
know when you're just like, oh, bro, let's do an album. Like, oh, right through this, like, pandemic or not. Like you said, like, the pandemic's a good representation of it, because I think the whole world kind of felt that in a certain pinch of, but it's like,
we were,
however,
our worlds were falling apart.
Our time that it came together was pretty eventful for sure. But I think, the album definitely came about in a cool way. And I'm stoked got like to have the raw deal thing on there, which, it's just a kind of a brute hip hop push. It's just like, all right, let's just do it, we're repping home as hard as we can, so let's go in. And it's just part of that whole process too. It's just like, so much. That was going down. You're just like,
that was as much an homage for us to do for Raw Deal in our childhood, but like a shortcut that we were just like, this is how we
would glue this together.
Yeah, how do we represent Sohum?
This is it. Like, boom.
I definitely feel it on that.
Shouts out to Just One. Shouts out, of course, to Raw Deal and the entire band of the Ideals.
Yeah, huge shout out.
So much respect to each and every one of those musicians.
So that's a good question
too, though.
Right.
Crazy musician worked with down there. It's just like, guy's a shredder. So
yeah.
Big ups to the man.
Yeah.
I think he was living up here somewhere.
Yeah.
He's in the hood.
So you guys actually recorded with the Ideals?
No.
That was the question. I was like, is this
just
a sample?
It's just a sample that he just flipped. He was doing a bunch of like movie stuff, so he's just like making a lot of crazy little mashups.
Hey, that's a testament to Just One. I was really, it sounded dope. I was like, damn, like,
rock it. You gotta, yeah.
We would love that opportunity, of course, but that wasn't something that came about.
That would have been some.
We were
real,
trying to reach out to more live
shit,
musicians, but it's just, again, time and place, and didn't happen. But
I love that track though, man.
Yeah, you gotta big ups to the man. So
absolutely,
yeah.
So we, again, like the album.
Back to the whole scene, back to reggae, and
everything. Like it was it was supposed to be, a celebration. That was the idea. It's like, let's celebrate some shit. And so when the album is done and we listen to it, we're like, this is kind of like a remembrance album as much as it's like a cool live your life album. It had this almost unintended interpretation.
Little philosophy of pushing through a time where you're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
We'll take it because we need this right now.
Yeah, kind of dropped out just right in this little time period. Very, very, just kind of anxious and weird.
It's like, what were we trying to tell ourselves before this shit even happened? And now we listen to the lyrics and we're like, this means something completely different after the last year.
Yeah.
What were we trying to tell her? Like, it was like premonitory,
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
that's super dope, though. I love that you guys are really, something else that I don't know if artists are doing this out there. Y'all, people listening. I know there's a lot of artists listening to this podcast, so I can almost sometimes I like say things that's kind of towards the artist. So like, I don't know who might be listening, but I love that you guys are talking about how you guys think about how your music is going to be received, or when the collaboration between your performance, those are all important aspects of performing. It might even just go back to like those performing elements that you guys had earlier on in your lives, like you're talking about in Sohum, the teachers and everybody else. But that's like the performance is important. you know? And so if you're not thinking about all those different aspects, like you're eventually, hopefully you move to that. But I love hearing you guys have done that. The
performance is
time.
the most moving. It's like you come up with all these ideas. It's like you want to get it across. You're going to have to be able to perform it and really, put it out there. So like you said, that's the ultimate goal. It's like, if you're trying to express yourself, it's like,
no, for us,
you want to be out there somehow, some way. It's like, that's why even if you're behind the scenes, it's like you still want that shit to do fire, and it's just like, all right, I was part of that. So all the good things that just come from it. Keep pushing that forward, that drive to make differences and make changes, and do what we got to do.
Totally.
Not always the easiest thing.
No, but being able to adapt is like a big part of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In any capacity of what you're trying to do.
Right.
And that's what freestyle will allow you, is being able to think on your feet a little bit more. When you're on stage, something goes wrong.
Yeah.
How do you, are you going to freeze? Are you going to call yourself out? I've done all the things. I've made every faux pas you can think of on stage, where I've made the crowd fucking hate me and turn on me in an instant, or I've made them feel too sorry for me to listen to my music anymore. You know what I mean? I've done all these little things that you aren't supposed to do, and I've learned the hard way. So it's like, when these are really easy, simple mistakes that every performer is going to make at some point, the longer you do it. So it's like, you might as well just get up there, get out of the way, learn from it. Freestyling with your friends beforehand will help you
build up your blocks.
Build up your blocks. Build up that armor.
Brick by brick.
Recognize those red flags in your head where you're like, I'm going down the wrong road with this freestyle, and I need to go over here and switch up this. And if I don't, this isn't going to work. Being able to see what's coming up the next step, 2 steps, 3 steps, being able to see that, just like building up those skill sets. Because it's like juggling in a way. But it's like juggling while you're riding a unicycle, because you got to do this kind of multitasking focus thing, and that's just going to help you in the studio when you're writing. That's just going to help you record better and record a better performance of your dope ass song that you wrote. Your lyrics are dope as fuck.
Your delivery,
Your delivery needs work. You know what I mean? Go perform.
Delivery is a tough one.
Yeah.
It's like, perform or record yourself. Listen back to your actual delivery, the way that. Because you're like, that might have been dope too, like what you said. But it's like, you just say it a little bit differently.
Right.
Just a little bit more like tone too. It's like, oh shit, you can do crazy stuff. It's like,
and again, it's not saying like one way is better than any other way. It's just another tool that you can use to get better as an artist and as a performer and as a person. Because it's also a very humbling experience to go up there and do your best to rock shit. It's also very humbling, where you get up there, you get the shakes, maybe you fuck up a line, and everybody's watching you, and you gotta try to get off beat, you gotta try to come back, whatever it is that happens, all the things,
Just keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Keep the crowd on your side. How to communicate with people in the front row and do all those little things.
Yeah, exactly.
Little things.
Break down all the way.
That we're still learning. Shit. That's why I love performing on stage, because I'm still learning this shit too. I'm just a student like anybody else, just trying to get better at what I do.
Yeah, guys.
That's it. That's what I love to do. Right. So, and I think it's helpful.
Yeah.
I think also freestyling shows a respect for the craft, because you guys there's a level of you're not taking anything for granted. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy to do it. It's not easy to go in front of people and freestyle.
Right.
You know, so if you're able to take your game up to that level, you know, it shows that you do have respect for what you're doing. You definitely have respect for hip hop because hip hop is definitely freestyling. You know what I'm saying? So you can have a lane where you're not, but
there's the dichotomy there because the MC is like bravado, right? And macho and machismo and confidence. And you got to present that self, but you can't freestyle without a certain level of vulnerability, and that's counterintuitive to a lot of MCs, which again is fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it. If you don't freestyle, that don't mean nothing.
That's the balance.
Whatever, you know what I mean? It doesn't make you better or worse than anybody. It's just another. It's like you say I only use acrylic paint. Rock and roll. That painting's dope. That painting's dope.
Right.
You know what I mean? You say I don't freestyle. That's cool. That's just not your medium. Whatever. Rock and roll. But if that's something that you happen to dip your toes into, then you know, it's only going to benefit you in the long run, help you out, because it's going to affect you on so many more levels than just like your rhyming ability or your mental capacity or whatever the fuck it is that you know, equate it with. It really is just a helpful tool. You know?
And it's dope that there's that. I'm not trying to continuously loop back to the ciphers that exist around here, but there is that infrastructure where there's a cipher, two or multiple every month, because the inside cipher is like, I think like every week, so that's 4. There's always 1 to 2 Fatbol ciphers a month, so there's like avenues for folks to go out there and just practice.
Right. It's also a great way of paying homage to the culture. Like if you're trying to kind of, you know, you could be whoever you want to be whenever, but if you're like in the cipher and you're freestyling, you have to sacrifice a certain part of yourself to that cipher. You're giving yourself to that thing. You're paying that price. You're paying that homage and that respect to the culture of hip hop. You know,
like you said,
that's a great way to be like, how do I give back to this thing that has come into my life and help me out in these various capacities? Go to a cipher, step into it, or just rock your head next to somebody and be like, that was dope when they're done.
Right.
That, you know,
go hang out.
Yeah, straight up, absolutely.
Yep.
It's always cool too. We build up the steam.
That's right. Those push-ups like we're talking about.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You know, and that's one of the other cool things. You can, at least at the Fatbol Cypher, you know, I'm sure you could take it to other ciphers too, but you can bring your bars too, your pre-written bars there.
Oh, yeah.
So then it's, you know, you can, if your focus is like you want to perform, you know, if that's, you know, and you're pre-written, you can do that too, you know.
Of course. Like when you see a dope stand-up comedian tell a really funny joke, that's not the first time he told that joke. You know? If you have bars,
you build up an arsenal.
Yeah, go out there and try them. That's fine too.
You're trying
like I said, there's
figure
no
out how they
way.
go together while you're in the, you know, in the mode. Like, you know, like that's where you figure it out. You're like, oh, that's how it's gonna work. Like, not gonna be able to do it like this or like that. When it comes down to it, like it's a trial. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a thing. This guy knows. This guy's the beast, and just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the cipher is so dope when you come down there. It's a free event for you to come and see, and as dope as it is, I just encourage more and more people.
It's got to
to come
be free.
out.
It's freestyle.
Absolutely. Like I'm saying, like
Defeat the point.
I'm not a battle
That's not
rapper,
free.
right? I don't battle. I'm not a battle MC, but I met Knack One at a battle. I met Flo J Simpson at a battle. You know what I mean? This is where I met those dudes and ended up becoming good friends for the next 20 years. And just because I was like, all right, I'm gonna step out and I'll go check this thing out and go put my hat in the ring and see what happens and try something completely different and new and fail at it.
Get roasted.
And get used to that feeling and be like, I want more of that, you know. But yeah, so I push the cipher all day, you know.
For real.
Yeah.
And the vibe that it brings to it's like it becomes a part of the show. The vibe it brings to the then bigger shows in the, like, you're like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden you have some crew from the cipher and let's rock it or whatever. That's always been a big one too. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, again, you're just building up your little community. You're like, oh, me and dude vibe or whatever. And next thing you know, you're just rocking something. That's how it pushes forward too. And little projects become, and again, back to the live, just cool live vibes. I personally need to get out to those things more. I've seen some inspiring stuff there too. Just like you said, kids putting it down. So.
I mean, I really want to give them respect because, again, Cypher General Knack won, and Brian Swislow, resident DJ Goldilocks just won. GMG comes out there. All the people that come out because, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a period of time in the last, like, Fatbol Cypher has been going on for almost 10 years. Like, other than you guys rocking like individual shows and you guys doing events and shows like that, there has not been any like recurring, like monthly event of hip hop, like where hip hop's going down like that. Like, I don't think at all in Humboldt County. It's just been the Fatbol Cypher.
The Fatbol Cypher kind of holds that crown, I would think. We had our special guest family at the Stone Junction once a month for I think like 4 years, and it wasn't a cypher, but it was all improvisational, 5-piece band, and we would rock for like 4 hours. Now,
every month?
Somewhat of a cypher.
That was pretty much every month. I mean, we might have taken a couple months off, you know what I mean? But that was pretty solid.
For 4 years,
for 4 years we did that. We rocked that.
Shout out to the special guest crew.
Yeah, special guest family and Stone Junction. But no, I mean, as far as Knack 1 and Fatbol Cyphers goes, they hold the crown for that. Absolutely, 100%. And shouts out to one of the other longest standing crews in Humboldt County, of course, the Humboldt Rockers. You know what I mean? Humboldt County's like only and leading B-boy crew. Shouts out to Reckless Rex and the whole Humboldt Rockers crew.
Yep. Rex has been doing so much for this community for so long, and I think it's interesting that the Rockers, like at least just like you said, there has been no other Humboldt County dance crew that I can recall in the last 10 years, especially not anybody that's been holding it down like Rex. There may have been some that like maybe
there
popped up a couple, maybe come up for a year or two, but the Rockers have been there like a pillar.
The Rockers have been there, holding it down. Holding down a pillar of the community and the culture that a lot of us, I wouldn't say neglect or just what a lot of us cannot do. You know what I mean? I didn't grow up. I didn't have anybody who taught me how to breakdance. I cannot do it. I'm not good at it. I'm not. I might take a class.
I would love to backflip. Yeah, I remember back in the day, me and Eli were like, "We're going to Rex's class.
We're going to Rex's class.
Learn how to backflip." Like
we used to say, like we're gonna go do that.
We wanted to do that.
See,
that's badass.
That's crazy.
Because that wasn't even like a thing that was.
Capoeira shit.
Right. We would watch
backflip kicks,
breaking, but other than those movies from the '80s, we didn't know anything about breakdancing. This was before YouTube. So it was like, what even?
Yeah, no, we were some hell kids when we first started learning about it. We're just like, that's the shit right there.
That's the shit right there. And I remember we got like Scribble Jam DVDs when DVDs first came out. We were like, what is this?
Right?
This is crazy. This is like we had no idea. We had no idea.
It's such an important pillar of hip hop too that I think is definitely like again Rex and the Rockers, Akeem and the whole crew. They have been doing it, and other than them, like with it only being them, I feel like it's an underrepresented community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then you definitely have to give them their respect for holding it down for so long, and they're still doing it. I just saw them at the show you guys did.
That's the real push-ups.
Right. That's a real push-ups, dude. There's a lot of different MCs doing a lot of different things, a lot of DJs playing a lot of different shows. There's a lot of graph for a lot of different, perspectives.
Yeah.
A lot of different things going on. Humboldt Rockers, kind of holding it down. Shouts out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's a big role to play in the Humboldt County hip hop scene that they've been doing for a long time. A lot of us MCs kind of vie for different positions here and there, but those guys they rock it. That's it. They hold it down. And you gotta give them their credit for that, you know. Got a lot of respect for what they do. Absolutely.
Yep. Rex is still doing classes. He teaches breakdancing down at the Dream Athletics. You know, that's Hakeem's gym.
That's right. Yeah.
Holding it down, still keeping that pillar alive. You know.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Super cool.
It really is.
Yeah. And you know, we were rocking Humboldt Rockers back in the day at like the Portuguese hall shows. You know.
Most shows, again, like, you know, the dope shows. It's like, and those guys would just show up.
Yeah,
like,
the dope
that was a dope
ones.
show then.
That's how you knew it was a good
those
show.
guys showed up.
And actually, you're totally right. Those guys showed up. It was like, that was a dope show.
That wasn't the empty bar.
That was a dope show.
Like that show was a week or two ago. I saw you guys at in the Rockers. It was Eli Fowler, Knack One, C Baker. Shout out to C Baker. We got to get C Baker on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We got to get the Rockers on the podcast too. I was just talking with Rex at the last Fatbol Cypher, I think, and we definitely got to get the Rockers on the pod. You know what I'm saying? But that was dope seeing the Rockers kill it with C Baker up there. That was a sight to see. You know,
I had to tell Chris. I was like, I love you so much for bringing out the Rockers tonight, dude. Because I was like sitting there before I left to drive up there. I was like, you know, why don't I reach out to Rex and have those guys come out and rock? And then as soon as it popped in my head, I say, C Baker's like, I'm bringing out the Rockers tonight. I'm like, all right, he's got it on lock. You know what I mean? He's mad respect to Chris and Michael Summer. Those guys killed it that night, you know.
Michael Summer.
Shouts out to the Humboldt Rockers. Shouts out to Zeke. Shouts out to Booty Shaking Productions for throwing the show there at Mazzotti's.
Yep. You and Knack One killed it.
Me and Knack One did our thing with DJ M. Mad respect to DJ M. Always holding it down as usual. And then the Chicharrones killed it with DJ Zone. That was nasty.
Bummed I missed that.
That was a dope show.
I haven't seen them for a minute.
That was a good one, yeah. And that was just a cool reunion, just to see everybody, just to get to go to a show up in Arcado and the whole crew, you know, all these different crews came out and getting to see everybody and say hello and give everybody daps and hugs. And I just haven't seen anyone in a while, so it was great just to see everybody. That
was that kind of energy.
Yeah,
still
totally. It was
fresh
energy.
Been coming, long time coming.
Yeah, it really has been. We're still in that where it's like, man, it's nice to see everybody. You know, felt old school. It's like we all had this spry energy. Everybody was ready to get down. It was nice.
Heck yeah.
You know, and then and of course Knack held it down, per usual.
Yep.
I mean, he's the man.
Yep, he ripped that.
Yeah.
What else really is getting it rocking? I mean,
right. You know. So I mean, definitely got to get those guys.
Crazy. I mean,
get those guys on the pod.
That's the next level.
Definitely. And the kids love. You know, I see there's a lot of kids that go to Dream Athletics, but kids are interested in breakdancing, and it's a part of the culture that we just need to get more kids interested in breakdancing. You know.
Well, I think just the performing arts in general. I think kids need to be exposed to just people that are out of their shell and on stage and trying to do something different. That way, when it comes to them in life unexpectedly, they're not going to be like, "Oh, what the fuck is this?" You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's
a part of it. A lot of people have forgotten this part of hip hop because nowadays I'll go on, TikTok or social media and see kids nowadays and they'll be doing the sturdy, and that's gotten real big, and this, the videos of people doing this, and it's just the new form of breakdancing. Breakdancing started it where there's people doing, dance moves and dancing and people around and watching and everything like that to hip hop music. Breakdancing was how it started. You know what I'm saying? So there wouldn't be none of this, like all these dances and all that without breakdancing.
No, of course not. You know what I mean? Of course not. That, like you were saying at the very beginning of the podcast, the way pop culture has enveloped hip hop culture and kind of not split it down the middle, but certainly utilized it
in their way,
of it for its own
messed
game.
it up, muddled it up a bit.
Maybe that's chopped just how things transform and grow. I don't know.
Well, it does, but then and you end up with some more watered down stuff too.
That's also true.
Where you're just like, oh,
it's also very
that's
true.
cool, but it's watered down in this element. Like, might not be the breaking element or whatever, but it's like
right. I remember when I first time I saw breakdancing on a 7-Up commercial, I was like, this is the end right here. This is this is it. I think it was like 1996, and they had breakdancing on a 7-Up commercial, and I was like, oh, ouch.
That's so funny. I wonder if it was the 7-Up guy.
But also, I was like, good for him, whatever.
Yeah,
He's getting paid to breakdance. He's making that 7-Up money breakdancing.
Exactly.
Like, who am I,
Got too far.
Yeah.
7-Up commercial.
How things have changed, you know. It's so interesting. Again, that's the marketing game, like I think in the 90s, hip hop was, there was those like you're talking about, those kind of like waves and the peak era. Peak era was definitely like 93, 96. That was a peak. You know what I'm saying? They definitely want to channel that energy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. That's we've got this wave right now of Humboldt hip hop. All these kids, all these young dudes, all these MCs coming out of the woodworks, people moving up here, people ready to come out after the pandemic. It's like it would be great to see just, instead of, and again, there's no wrong way to do it, but it would be great to see a crash of an artistic fallout from this huge presence that we have, and we're seeing it start right now. Right,
a renaissance of sorts.
Young dudes are putting out all this music and they're performing, they're pushing it, and it's like that's gonna create a snowball effect, and that's going to create a scene, and that's how you're going to create, healthy competitions and relationships and friendships, and different groups that are trying to do different things, and you got to branch off to differentiate, and like that's how you're going to create a healthy, thriving scene. So I'm here for all of it. Yep,
it's better for the snowball to keep going than to melt out.
Well, yeah. Right. I mean, as far as that's a good metaphor. I like it. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. It becomes a monster, but
it becomes a monster.
It still is gonna, get filtered down.
Yeah.
Keep having people holding it down. It's like, all right,
right.
Hold that down. Figure out that avenue of it. That behind the scenes little, like you said, marketing's like that. Just weird things that are just like, I don't know. You just get yourself in spaces and be that person that just connects the dots. It's a crazy world like that.
It's a crazy
so many
world.
Things happening so fast.
Many things happening.
All right, get yourself out there. Be able to connect some dots.
And one thing that we're all on the screen now, right? We're all on the cell phone, and it's like one thing that a screen really does is like, it makes the big things seem really little, and it makes the little things seem really big. You know what I mean? Not visually, but in perspective. Where it's like this, the world's most famous puppy, and then it's like war in Ukraine, and it kind of equates the two things, and you're like, what matters more in my world? I get to decide now because I'm looking at it through this lens. It's a really interesting tool that way, and it's like, so how does that translate to how we ingest art? Does that mean we do not have like the human ability to slow down and enjoy something? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's I might have just gone off on a stone tangent, but
No, I think you're right on, dude, because it's, how media has changed and it's moving towards this more short form and shorter attention spans, because, it's like, well, let me just scroll through a bunch of quick videos, that's the TikTok era now, that we're now in. And not everyone's art is made to just be channeled into a 15, 30, 60, 90-second reel.
Right.
I think a lot of like the energy that you guys give to your audience and the people in Humboldt County through the music, it doesn't mesh with that. I'm just gonna just give you a quick 10 seconds of it. Like that's that's not, you guys are trying to like touch like people, with your music. You know what I'm saying? And so it's interesting, and you guys have still stayed relevant, made the music dope. put it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's a testament to it. In the face of things going in that direction of less time in your ear, the impression that you get on somebody's ear is shorter and shorter.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
True.
The amount of time that we get in somebody's ear is getting less and less. And so, sometimes it's nice to remind yourself, like, taking a breath and slowing down isn't like the worst thing in the world. You have that option. You always have the option to like put it down and relax for a second and chill out. And like what we were saying earlier about, people always being on their phones and the messages, and you're always so attentive to it. It's like we grew up in the kind of a MySpace pre-cell phone era. So it's like it's not that foreign to me to just leave my cell phone at home when I go to the movies. You know what I mean? Or leave it, in my backpack.
I grew up in the CB era.
Right, the CB.
Hey, yeah.
We grew up in the
CB.
CB era.
Yeah.
Out in the hill. That was the first.
Yep.
Got a copy?
It's still, when people are,
10-4.
we're not completely up on it. We're still trying to learn that game. The social media game, the branding game, the movie.
It's like right behind the curve on.
Yeah, we're right behind
how
the
that
curve
all
on
works, but
and that's another reason
It's
why
not-
we're not. We don't get down on ourselves for that.
like you said, that's not really wasn't really 100% part of it anyway.
No, exactly.
That's like
Everyone's like, you missed the boat. It's like that wasn't the trip I was taking.
that's like the
We had different tickets.
right. It's the new way, but navigate that as we dip into it here.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Right. And it's always a shifting landscape, right? It's a constantly shifting landscape. You got to
Right.
navigate, and it can be very difficult. And again, no disrespect to anyone that does it. Whatever path you take, that's all. That's rock and roll. It can be, but and all the things that have changed, hand to hand music, how you ingest music, how we buy music, all of the things that have changed over the last, let's say 10 years. The only thing that hasn't really changed is person-to-person performance. You know what I mean?
Right.
On-stage performance. Me getting on stage with a microphone and looking you in the eye and rocking my
Live.
bars to you, that's the same. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's old school, but it's like that's the part we've always loved. That's
Yeah.
our strength. That's what that's how we rock it. That's how we connect with people, and that's how we kind of self-therapize,
yeah, for sure. Bang out a beat, write a song.
Right. He was banging out a beat when I got to his house to pick him up today.
Yeah, I was like,
He's like, I got to turn off the studio.
Yeah.
It's cathartic,
Yeah. Absolutely. We're just heads. It's like what Case said when he came through. Like we're just fans. We're just heads. And we love to perform live.
Yeah.
Because we're those kids.
Grew up through that golden era, like you said.
Yeah.
Of course. Very influenced by some of the greats in that period. It's like, all right, damn. Like we were talking about, like the whole era of that confluence was pretty crazy. So takes a humble head and you become a super fucking fan and writer and start doing your own thing, pushing your own little wheel of the circle down the line. It's like, oh shit. That's how we're doing it.
Right.
Keep pushing. It's the same with the weed game or whatever. It's just like, all right, develop your own little thing, find your niche, your way, your fucking crew. It's like all those things. Okay, shit. We got a little formula now.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're dialed in. Now we can, without, just stalemating out. It's like you can just keep shit in motion. Oh shit. Now we can be relevant and in the time in this crazy way. It's pretty cool.
Just got to keep going.
Yeah. So big ups to everyone out there keeping up the culture, keeping it alive, and yeah, we're gonna keep doing our part. That's what we do.
Yeah. We'll be
That's
rocking
all
out
we
at Glen
got,
Blair
so,
Junction on the 20th.
Reach out.
Oh, sick.
So
Yeah.
we'll be doing it out there.
Yep. Shout out to all those heads. Big ups to the producers on that one.
That's a 420 show.
That's on 420.
Big ups to 420.
We'll be taking the skunk train.
Humboldt holiday.
Yeah, riding the
Hope
train
all
from
y'all are-
Fort Bragg out to the junction, rocking some
wild.
tunes.
So
We'll probably end up rocking close to the full write up album from start to finish.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Yeah,
that's
Five
what's up.
or 9 tracks.
yeah, 5 or 9 or yeah. We're gonna rock the album.
There we go.
I know.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all go out to that. That's on 420. Where is it? That didn't that just place just open or no?
No. So the junction, where the show will be is called Glen Blair. The skunk train will be leaving from Fort Bragg at 4:30 on 420. So you come, get your tickets now. Show up. We'll blaze out. We'll get on the train. We'll blaze all the way out there. Have a good time when we get there. Food, dabs, weed, and then we'll be playing a bunch of live tunes. Mendo Dope will be performing. They got the whole sound system from Christofari and Void sound system. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a real kind of exclusive dope party. So if you're in the area, you got the time, I really suggest getting yourself a ticket and coming on out because it's gonna be a blast.
Skunk train.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
It was made for it.
Yeah. Totally.
The old skunk.
It's a no-brainer.
coming back.
It's a no-brainer.
It is.
Hell yeah. Let me see. What else did I have, fellas? Any questions that I have for you? You know what I mean? With everything, constantly changing, and you guys doing what I like, because I'm a connoisseur of sound. I've said this on the pod before. I'm not just whatever's hot, and that's not what I'm necessarily listening to at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm a connoisseur of sound. So then you kind of flock towards guys like you who are doing it more for your sound and getting your sound out, because you can hear that in the music. You really can, especially if you're a connoisseur of it. You can tell, no, these are... one track that just consistently pops into my head because it's a track from last year that, at least is touching for me, was Talking to Pops by Knack One. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're, if you're, just in the trap and, and that's all you listen to on the radio, and your mind and your musical taste and your palate is focused on all that, you're going to miss something like the beauty of what Knack One did on that song.
Absolutely. A gorgeous song, too. Yeah, I've seen him rock that. I mean, absolutely. And again...
It's back to the pillars.
Pillars.
Don't forget your... Pay your homage and look at your... what's behind you, too. Because, people are just dope right now. It's just lay shit down. They got their auto tune and their thing, and it's just that's good enough, It's just lay it down. It's don't forget to look at how these guys were doing it and how they had to come up so that you can remember, you can do shit like this too. This is a whole other style. So, so you can change it up a little bit and rock it out, It's definitely advantage. Don't forget your advantages too. It's
right. Yeah, exactly.
Coming up with all these things, it's those might not be your advantages at a certain point. It's your advantage might be, back to that record collecting thing. Might not be that you got Spotify and all these things. You got this old record and it's just dope, and you just listen to that record. That shit's fire. It fires me. It's I'm not lost in the void. It's just all right, I'm listening to this album enough times. It's really sunk in.
Yeah.
A good amount of time of listening to it. Important too.
Because it used to be.
That's what happens,
right?
When you have it just sitting there too. It's okay, that's gonna get played probably several times. It's gonna sit there. It's gonna be more part of your life.
Now
something that's
on
just
shuffle
streams through, and it's you can't even find that if you want.
Exactly.
You probably could, but it's just
right.
It does come through that fast, basically. Especially if you're just working and listening to music. You're what was that?
The playlist, we're all at the whim of the algorithm now,
Yeah.
and what it's pumping into your ears, you know what I mean? And
exactly.
They keep trying to get it better and better, and
right.
So it's as we're writing
give
these
that
songs,
a zigzag.
Me and Mika have always
Switch up
had a
the
really
matrix.
great shorthand when it comes to writing songs. We'll always end up landing somewhere near each other on the same page, concept-wise, rhyme-wise. You know what I mean? We'll find each other some way. And we have different styles, but they complement each other. And that's not necessarily because like they're so different or they match tonally or harmonically or any of those things. It's just because we are really good friends. And we're able to like write on these similar wavelengths. And we always had, and it's like a non-conversation. We've always just been able to get there with each other, you know, since day one. And I tell people this all the time when they're in the studio and they're trying, especially when they're trying to do something new or they're unsure of themselves, don't be afraid to play to your strengths. Explore something new, try something new, but play to your strengths. You know what I mean? And me and Mika have found a formula that really works for us. Yeah. We were like, we can do that. We can write this album and not just like a couple of songs, but a full album that has, you know, a scope to it, especially if we had the help of Swizz and Just One and G Davis and MCP and Knack One and Pounds and Jubal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like recording and just like telling you, oh, you got to do a little more you or a little, you know, same thing.
Yeah.
That's a crucial one.
It's crucial.
Being able to do it well too, like, you know, talking people through it. I know Just One's done that for me a ton. It's just really just play to your strengths, like you said, like just slow it down, just do it a little more how you would do it. Like don't be wilding too hard. It's all right, you know. It's more producer minded too, I guess. I've been in that zone anyway, so I'm like, oh yeah, makes sense.
Right.
Find your pauses, you know, find your points. It's like, all right, that's cool too. Like, you don't have to be going all wild all the time, and you got to find the wave of it too. To find the bottoms and the little points. Like, all right, here we go. Here's a little bottom point where it kind of drops out, and then there's all that madness can come back in proper. It's like, all right, cool. But that's you know, that's what I'd be going for. That's what I guess I am going for. It's just like, really try to ride those waves. So you'll see. Those next things will be coming out fire. So
dope.
Let's keep getting fired up out there. Let's keep that building. You know?
That's it.
I feel that. I'm just seeing a lot of it. So. And,
I love you guys are making it yours. You know, that's beautiful to me. You know what I mean? I was just watching a thing on, it was either Netflix or some streaming service. It was a Rap Caviar Presents. And so the first episode was on Tyler, the Creator. And one of the things about Tyler, the Creator, is that like he's made it to where he's at. He's like stayed consistent to like him. He's made it him. You know, he's not, you know, he's going against the grain.
He's a fucking dope beast, bro. I remember the first time, what was it called?
He's the
Wolfpack
creator.
Whatever. The first time I seen that, and I was like,
oh
no, this dude's a fucking genius. Like, he's flipping the script.
Freestyle songwriting. It's like the next level. You're just like,
it's like the first time I heard Lil Nas X in the Old Town Road song, and everyone's like, have you heard this song? And I'm like, you guys don't understand what this dude's doing. He's just pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. He's a fucking genius.
Mental auto-tune.
He just blew everybody's minds. He's a genius. I love the guy. You know what I mean? And so yeah, absolutely. Like anytime I hear those songs that are able to just fly over people's heads for the right reasons, love it.
That's one you might want to sit down with. Sit down with
that
one. Buy that one.
Right?
Yeah, buy the ones you don't think you're gonna like too. That's the key.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just like, oh shit.
That too, though.
You know what you like. You got that, but it's just like, oh shit. Buy something that's off, and you're like, oh.
I mean,
or whatever. Find it, and you're like, oh, that was off, but interesting.
Back in the day, you get a mixtape. This mixtape has 20 rappers on it, so you're gonna go out and you're gonna buy 10 albums for each rapper that has an album, because usually that's as many on the CD that has an album out or on the tape or whatever. And you end up coming home with like 6 dope MCs and then 4 that you might not like as much. You know what I mean? But then 20 years later, out of those 6 you liked, 2 are still rapping. And out of the 4 that you like, you know, one of them is like the dopest underground MC you've never heard. You know, you never know. You never know, and you don't know how your tastes are going to change, and you don't know what you're going to appreciate later. You know what I mean? You might put something on 20 years later and be like, I don't know what I was thinking. This is whack. Or you might be like, why didn't I bump this shit? You know,
For real.
so definitely listen to all of it. You know,
Yeah.
there's no wrong way to do it.
Get out of your
Just immerse
bubble
yourself.
as much as you can.
Absolutely. You know,
Tough,
and
it's a tough one to do too, because you
I
get
was gonna say we're
stuck
guilty
in
of that. I mean,
oh yeah, I do it all the
absolutely.
time.
We're old heads, dude. I still
Be
bump
listening
my
to
old
pop,
shit. Yeah,
country.
I know
What
you
the
mean.
hell? No.
I'm still listening to like old shit. Like,
Yeah, no.
can't help it. But I mean, that's just what YouTube plays for me too. It just instantly plays shit from the '90s.
Right, the algorithm. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. YouTube's like, you like the '90s.
Yeah,
Here
and
you
pull
go.
like a little Nas X type of shit.
Yeah, it's like fucking
Some
start
weird
listening to all
shit.
sorts of other shit. What's up?
Pull something out of nowhere,
Yeah, so you know,
bring it back.
Yeah.
It's
Mix
it's
it up.
important to get out of that.
Super hip hop.
You know, get out of your frame, especially what you're listening to, and what if you're trying to like, you know, again, I don't have all the rules, but one thing that has worked for me is reading. Like, just get out of your head, read some stuff. You want to write something dope, read something dope. You know, read as much different shit, different perspectives. If you can't actually travel around the world, read from somebody from a different country with a
Underrated.
different perspective on the world and how shit works. And you know what I mean? That's only gonna help you out in everything else you do. That's it. That's all it's gonna do is help you.
Yeah.
You know, especially with all this, you know, I don't want to get too poly-charged on the pod, but with all the book banning nonsense, it's like,
Oh yeah, I haven't been
Let's-
following it hard, but I see it's happening though. Yeah.
Don't fall for the
it's
no
nonsense.
books.
Yeah, don't fall.
Yeah.
You can't
Books are
read
cool.
Toni Morrison. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
I know.
no, do read Toni Morrison by all means. What are you talking about? Read all of it. Read whatever you can get your hands on. Read the shit you don't like. Read the shit you don't agree with.
Yeah, exactly.
Read it all.
Yep. We move more and more as the social media age, you know, time passes in the social media age. We're so used to our bubble.
Oh
And then social media reinforces it. And so then you get so comfortable and it's becomes harder and harder to step out of that bubble. And that's not a good direction. You need to step out of your bubble. The world exists outside of your bubble.
You have to.
You know?
Yeah,
You got to. You know,
for real.
because it's so easy not to. That's why you have to. Because it's so easy not to.
That's a big one for Humboldt. We were talking about that when we were coming up here.
Uh-huh.
He just did the show in Mendo, and we're doing another show in Mendo. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, Humboldt's a bubble too. I mean,
Humboldt's a
like-
bubble, Mendo's a bubble.
you get out. I mean, I know it's metaphorical or whatever, but it's the same. Like,
No, you're
you
right.
know,
I
you get in your little bubbles. It's like that's the crucial thing to do too. Is pull some crazy out of the ethers and make some relationship overseas and do something weird. You know, just it's critical.
Yep.
critical,
I'd be
especially right
pulling
now.
the
Like,
Darth Vader move. Shout outs to Darth Vader.
Yeah, shout out to Darth Vader for
He
real.
used to always be grinding on some random producer or something overseas on the internet. He was big on that type of shit. That shit's dope.
That's how it all spreads. That's what's up,
Doing-
see?
you know, that's a get out of your bubble type of mindset. Sometimes you gotta just be like, all right, let's just pull some strings and do something weird.
Especially
Make
as an artist. 'cause
something bounce.
That's it. Especially as an artist, because you guys have people looking up to you. So when they see you going outside of your box and listening to different things and everything like that, they're gonna do the same. You know what I'm saying? They really, musicians. Well, I don't. You know, a lot of people say rappers are the new, you know, pastors and preachers. You know what I mean? As the church changes in whatever different ways, you know, people are looking to hip hop artists a lot more than they used to be for like inspiration.
well, I would agree with them 100%. Follow the sound of my voice to the. No, that's crazy town. That's crazy talk.
You know,
They're tuned in. They're tuned in though. You know, like you know. I mean,
Yeah.
community leaders though.
no.
It is though. I mean, you talk and you become a community leader. So that's part of how it goes. You know,
Well, I mean, there's
words have
definitely
power and direction. So
There's a
it's-
huge responsibility with amplifying your voice through a microphone.
right. Is that why you got close right there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a huge responsibility that comes along with it. Absolutely, especially if you're going to be like, this is something I do on the regular, or I'm going to
Right.
record my voice and put it out to people. And again, I mean, I think there's a big power that comes with that, but that's just me. That's just something that
Right.
you know,
That's
the
the-
power of words has always been kind of a big deal. in my little teeny head, you know?
You're definitely a wordsmith, so.
Right.
You know, we grew up just reading and writing, you know? We were reading and writing and writing
Making
to
music.
perform, you know?
Yeah. Trying to balance the words and the music.
Yeah,
It's like
those
the
kids.
craziest propelling powers. Like you got the words telling you and music, you know, pretty much telling you too, like in a different way, and your emotions and the different strings behind your mental. It's like it's a propelling thing to do. It's like you're compelling people. So yeah, like you said, you got a responsibility, and you also, you know, back to that thing, you got to, you know, push forward too and do some things that might not be PC or whatever you want to say. So it's always a hard one, but I do think it's important to remember that it is, you know, I don't know, to bounce off what you're saying, it is you know, you are preaching, you are trying to teach and do things. So you do have to hopefully have some control over it, what you're doing, you know. It's hard, especially, you know, freestyling and talk about it. It's just like, all right, you know, try to just get control over your whole mode, and that was pretty hard thing to do. So
And then
it's the whole balance of life in some ways. Just like, all right, let's get control of all these modes and put it into the moment here where we're not stuck in that other zone of craziness. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And life can change around you very quickly. As I saw, like at the last Fatbol Cypher, there was a lot of kids at the Cypher. And so, you know, at just the beginning of the Cypher, you know, Nag lets them know, hey, we got to make sure that we're, you know, not getting too vulgar with the bars and everything like that. So life changes around you very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, you got to build that muscle
Yeah.
to still keep going. Nag 1 still had to get up there for 3
Right.
for 3
Can
hours.
you do this
know.
part and the late night part? Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And like again,
Change
cuss all you
change
want,
your
perhaps.
idea you had to.
give a shit, go for it.
You know, mix-
I cuss more when I'm speaking in conversation than I do in my rhymes. I cuss all the time when I'm talking. In my rhymes,
let
I
him
don't cuss
slip.
at all
There's
because it was
no doubt
something
about that.
we decided a long time ago. We were like, there's so many fucking words in the English language that if you're literally writing your cuss words into your rhymes, then it's kind of just a little lazy.
That's just the lazy freestyle.
That's
Those
just
are
a
the lazy freestyle
tool.
words.
That's,
You're like,
that's,
oh,
I mean, you could do that
And then
freestyling.
that,
Why would you
that.
write that into your
that
rhymes?
sounds
Right.
good.
You know?
No.
And then they'll just, I've seen it
sorry.
where they're
That's
just,
just us.
yeah.
Again, that's I don't care who.
That's most people.
You know, I just don't feel the need to do it. You know what I mean? I can use other words to emphasize what I'm trying to say more than that.
Right.
Whatever. And I mean, and again, there's definitely at least, I think there's like 2 or 3 cuss words on the write-up. So it's not completely clean album, you know?
We're not fully
No.
Christian.
No. Certainly not.
It could be a crutch though, you know, just cussing, and you know that can become a
It
crutch.
can
very
totally
easily.
become a crutch, and it's a crutch when you're freestyling, and you know you get into these little modes where you have these little phrases, and most of the time they involve cussing, motherfucking, and I'm a motherfucking beast, and you know, and that's cool, and that's how you gain momentum and learn your fucking how to rock the beat.
They're
get
power
forward.
words.
Yes, but when you're sitting down and you're writing, we felt that we could say more without that. It becomes deeper without using that. And that's just,
Right.
I mean,
It's the
whatever.
editing process too.
It's just the
sometimes.
editing
You're just
process,
like,
too. Yeah.
Probably don't need that one. Like, couple.
No. And not to say we
Couple's
don't
good.
cuss in our songs. We do
Couple's good.
cuss in songs when we fucking want to.
Well, just like anything, it loses its power.
It
too.
loses its
You're
power
like,
if every
okay.
line is
It's too many
that.
lines of it. You see it a lot, and it's just like, all right, it's too many lines of it though. Like,
Yeah.
regardless, it's like,
Especially when you're writing it, you're
that's-
just looking at the
if you
paper.
do
you're
that-
like, I
if
have
you do that
18
line, like-
motherfuckers in a 16-bar verse. I gotta cut these out. I'm
mean-
getting lazy.
could be a
That's how
style
you
as long as
know.
the bars before it are just immaculate. Like,
As long as I mean, and that's the thing though. It depends on and who you
better
are
be
and how you
immaculate before
deliver
that.
it. If
Yeah,
it's
but
DMX, he gets away with
usually it's like
it. DMX gets away
you
with
just
it.
throw that out there.
What's your style? I mean, no, you're totally right. You're totally right. But for us writing, you know, as we're trying to like piece our songs together, we're like that just doesn't fit the overall tone of what we're doing.
Yeah, Eli's tone is like, it's always very just kind of, It's a little dark, but it's pretty airy overall.
Yeah.
It's like doesn't really call for it that much either. It's like
When I hear
it doesn't call for that. It's not the mode that we're kind of floating over here on a different mode. It's like
no, when I hear Eli freestyle,
air out the low end.
Definitely no. When I hear Eli freestyle, you definitely have to listen. You know what I'm saying? Your bars are inviting a person to actually listen to what you're saying.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So like, and I think that there's something, there's a power in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, that's compelling people to listen. You could just go up there and, and it'd be one of the dopest, hardest rhymes, and the bars are all this and all that, but they could leave that verse if you're doing that and not remember anything that you said.
Right.
So, but you're doing like,
and then it's like, what's the point of freestyling at all? You might as well have been spitting a written verse. If you're just gonna be rapping to the void and rapping so fast or so insane, you know what I mean? And again, this is just for me. This is how I internalize and vocalize my style. But it's like I keep it real simple if I'm freestyling. Sometimes I'll get in. If I'm freestyling, most of the time, if like in front of a live crowd, I'll keep it real simple. I'm gonna spoon feed them. I am going to spoon feed them a good time. I'm going to make sure each and every single person that I make eye contact with they understand what I'm trying to say, what I'm getting across. And now that I have all their attention, now I'm going to get them all to jump, make some noise, rock that shit, pound their drinks. You know what I mean? I'm going to get them to fucking party.
It's conversation.
And remember every single word that I say, because I'm speaking very clearly. I know how to use a microphone, which is 99% of other MCs' problem. They're just like wrestling with the microphone. Why are you torturing this poor little device? Just hold it like anything else normally in front of your face and use it. It's like any other tool.
It's weird.
You know? It's a weird thing, but it's
what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, what do I do with my hands?
Do with my hand right here.
So it's like when I freestyle, I don't, again, I'm not the best MC, so I'll leave it up to Flo J to get real crazy with and bust out all the sickest metaphors and go on these long multis and do all that, or I'll leave it up to Knack to rap for 38,000 bars and just hold down the night and just kill it. But when I get up there and I have my little bit of time, I'm gonna do something very memorable. I'm gonna do something that is that people are gonna talk about later on because they're gonna remember it. That's my goal. Because I know that like any time I step off that stage might be the last time, and I never get to go back up there. So they're gonna be like, "Damn, did you see the last time?"
It's the right sauce, yeah.
Right? Like that's if this is the last time,
especially
then I'm gonna kill this.
Like the hypest show too, like you said, people are already so hypey to start laying them that little spoon-fed conversation, and it's just like they just go nuts. They're ready. They're just. Everyone's open and
because I'm not out there
inebriated in that way of like just
I'm just there to facilitate.
Show's already got
show.
people here, so you're just
Yes, I'm there to just facilitate the show. I'm not there to prove that I'm the best freestyle rapper ever.
Bringing in those couple extra heads who are out there, like you said,
right?
Like, hey, you over there, get up here, just like just the simple, like you said, we're just partying. I'm just. I'm just busting your balls, like
bust your balls. Come on in, laugh with me, laugh at
me. That's the best at that. All those things. Break down that whole wall real quick.
Right, break down that wall.
That's gone. We're all here.
That's exactly what I was about to say. That wall. That's so interesting
because
tough
balance.
It really is. You guys will be at a venue doing an event, and there'll be a DJ playing. And so at that point in time, the focus is not on typically the stage, unless the DJ is like a super dope DJ and he's scratching, doing, just there's different periods where they're focused on the stage. But, I think when there's not a performer on the mic, it makes it all the easier to just kind of like mingle and your attention's elsewhere and your whole entire psyche's with like maybe, who's in front of you and who you're with and everything. But when you have somebody dope on the mic that's compelling you to watch, like you guys are talking about, that conversation, that exchange, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the sign of a dope performer that knows how to pull people in.
Yeah. That's what's up.
And you're breaking that wall because it's real easy to just not. And, You know, it could be somebody that's not compelling you, and so then you're really focused. You focus more on maybe dancing or whatever you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But there's that wall between. No, my focus is up here.
Well, that's why we're a good duo on stage, because I'll get their attention, and then Mika's got such a deep voice when he gets on the mic to start spitting. As soon as his voice amplifies through the microphone, everybody's head turns towards the stage.
Right.
What? They go, what the fuck's going on right now? They all turn and look. Huh? What's up? Just like that. Just like prairie dogs. You see it every single time. And so we you know, that's just like a little gift that we've been given as a duo. That we both have these, you know, teeny little gifts and talents that we bring to the table that complement each other. And again, that goes back to us just kind of landing on the same page. You know?
True. And just
We're
being
just
able,
lucked out that way.
being able to, work with a lot of the same people and just be in the same rooms for the right little points.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then we always had MCP, you know, kind of to keep us on our toes, because he's a wild card.
We should have brought P.
I wish he was here right now. I wish I should have just given him the address.
It'd be like five or six
dope.
more hours, but you know.
That would have been legendary. We'll definitely have to get him on at some point.
Absolutely.
Dope.
Yeah, we'll get P up in here. He's he's a riot.
Might make it all make sense if you.
He might make it all make sense.
Yeah, he'll fill in the gaps, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely.
Guy's the mad genius. Definitely taught me a lot of what I know about writing, and this guy taught me pretty much everything about like live performing, and crushing. You know, it's definitely no disrespect to anyone else and all the other teachers, but big time to these two homies and our journey through this medium. We're trying to mold up for y'all, so appreciate it.
Chemistry's still rolling. You guys are still doing things.
Yeah. You know, we got this show coming up in a couple weeks.
Still
Hopefully we'll book more
doing
throughout
shows.
the summer. And
Hopefully we'll get the summer arts going again.
yeah.
Got to make sure the crew's all ready to rally up and do it proper.
That would be sick. The write-up at the Summer Music and Arts Festival. Or, hell yeah.
Yeah,
We opened last year on Saturday, early
under
morning.
some rough circumstances. No,
But I think
no surprise.
Oh, that's right. You guys sure were there. That's right.
Yeah.
We were.
We usually perform in one
Stumbled
capacity or
out the
another.
gate. Yeah, no,
You guys are representing Southern Humboldt.
it was cool.
Yeah. You know, and again, the people that run that event are so gracious. They're just like, yeah, of course, you know. They hooked us up and gave us a really great slot.
We
So,
held
you
down
know.
quite a set. It was pretty cool. Yeah. But
I'm appreciative that you guys are still moving out there, and I want to encourage folks to keep an eye out for Mika Sun and Eli Fowler, whether it's at the Fatbol Cypher or any other events. You know, and when you see these events, come out and show support for hip hop in Humboldt County. Like, it's crucial to have people coming out. We got to reach that critical mass, and we're all going to do it together.
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Little drip by drip, you know.
That's it. The photographers, like everybody, like we need that. Shout out again to Bob Doran, you know, who's out there. You know, and I'm just not gonna start naming individual names of people, but there's people that I like, friends that are out there, you know, doing some of the same stuff, videotaping, photographing. We got to continue that. You know what I'm saying? That's what social media was for, to share it out there, let your friends see it, tag people. You know, I'll tag like everybody that was there in an event when I make a post. So that way, it's not to, like, I'm not, anybody who knows me, like, I'm not out here just trying to clout chase and I know all these people. Like, that's not even it. I prefer people to be able to network. Like, if you were at that show and you saw that person and you're like, oh, that's them, add for, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about, you know, the networking and growing, you know?
Yeah,
Totally. That's what's up.
it's big things that need to be facilitated, or little things, however you want to look at it. It's like, you know, call it what you want to, but it's, yeah, trying to get people together is what it's all about, really. Like you said, like at the end of the day, it's performing and getting together and celebrating.
Yeah.
You
Straight
know,
up.
watch what comes, right? Good things come from that. So
Yep.
don't forget to be at those things, be at those events. Anything we've talked about, I know we rambled on about quite a few, but you know, just gotta feel like, hey, if I don't show up, this shit ain't gonna be right. I gotta show up and show out, make the event pop. Like, you know,
Yep.
It's a big one. Just,
Straight up.
yeah, coming with that mindset too. Like, all right, when I come out, it's gonna go down, regardless. Regardless what you're doing. Like you said, holding your phone, taking some pictures, whatever. It might spark something cool. So,
Yep.
keep coming out, keep doing cool shit, being creative.
And that shit's
Like you
hard
said,
to do for us. You know what I mean? We're out.
Whole marketing
it's hard for
depends
us to
on
be out
shit
there
like
with our
that
phones.
too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fucking around on their phone, taking pictures. And all
We all
that
just
stuff.
tag
Sometimes,
that. We all just tag that stuff and build off it.
I mean, sometimes we forget about it. Sometimes time goes by.
I'm not the
Sometimes
best at it.
I'm bad at it. We're
if I
bad
do
at
do it,
you
that's
know?
how it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Big up to
almost by
yourselves.
accident. Like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, I got my phone in my
Go
pocket. I should
video
do this real
us
quick,
and-
and it'd be like a 15-second video clip or something, silly. We don't know what we're doing,
Gotta trim
Everybody's
that down.
flying off the
You gotta
cuff
trim that down.
nowadays.
That's too long. Too much
Right.
attention. 15 seconds. Trim that bad
Trim
boy
that
down.
You gotta trim that way down. Straight up, That's how it is. But it's like, so yeah, and we have to encourage, everybody to come down and participate and have a good time and leave your, bring your preconceived notions with you and have them changed when you're there. Bring them with
That's
you.
it.
Take
Exactly.
everything that you think that you're gonna see and bring it there with you, and then be like, "Oh, this isn't that at all." And then your life,
Right.
all
Go
your doors
thinking
are
you're
open.
gonna do something crazy. If you don't, it's all good.
Right.
If you come and just get stoned and vibe out, that's cool too.
Totally. Bring all those things with you. That's fine. And see what we do.
No. Yeah.
Because when we rock, we do something just a little bit. I'm not gonna say different, but we do our own thing.
Yeah. We usually manage to have some good times.
Yeah.
I'll say that. It's like, there's never been too many times where it's, even if it's empty, there's something going on. Someone's stoked up. So
Yeah.
it's always good vibes,
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that. So definitely come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Be
so
about-
if I was to ask you, gents, you guys don't have to say anything. You guys got any music on deck coming out 2023 or any drops that you have planned?
I'm working on a project right now. Back to what we were saying about this is our passion. This is what we do to keep ourselves sane. So I'm about to finish up a project with Mental Case right now. It's kind of a tape cassette 4-track recorded album. It's going to be a dedication to the singer-songwriter Daniel Johnston. And we should be done with that pretty soon and have that out by the summer,
Dope.
if not sooner. And then, me and Mika are going to dive back in, wrangle G. Davis, and hopefully get started on the write-up too.
That's what we're working
Oh,
on. We got to
sick.
wrangle G. Davis.
We got to wrangle G. Davis.
We're going
Hopefully
to
we
start
can-
from the roots, the
start
percussions,
from the roots,
the bingy.
wrangle
Gotta
G
go
and
get him.
Swizz and Just and get everybody back on the boat, and we can start working on the write-up too.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
We've got a couple of ideas about which kind of direction we want to take it in and how we want to work it, but kind of like the last one, it's not something that we're gonna force out. We're just gonna let it do its own thing and let it take its own shape and be its own entity, and that way it can be as honest as possible. You know what I mean?
Word.
That's it.
Yeah, I got a couple things. I've been producing. I got a couple homies. MCP did some works with him.
Yeah.
Dope.
Hoping to put those out, at some
Oh,
point.
hell yeah.
Got to figure out all the fine details of being a producer. It's a whole different thing. But and then I got another buddy of mine from down there who we started working on a few tracks too. So his name's Frosty G. So
Yeah, Frosty.
Frozen Star. So
Yeah.
trying to work on something with the youths and just building more on the production too.
Frosty's got a lot of talent.
Younger cat?
A younger cat.
Yeah,
He's got
big
a
up
lot
to
of
Frosty
talent.
G.
Big up to Frosty.
He is definitely a talented Soham kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some of them down there who are still repping.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're still like one of the only
Still-
hip hop contingents from Southern Humboldt.
Still a pretty tiny scene down there.
Still a pretty tiny scene down there. We've been here for 20 plus years. And again, no disrespect to anybody's town. Northern Humboldt, that's just where the bulk of the MCs
more
and
going
hip hop
on.
heads are going to be.
Big.
That's where more's
Like
going
we were saying,
on.
you're
You know
gonna
what I mean? Me and Mika,
exponentially
we're
grow.
born and raised in Soham. You know, we're both
Born and grown in the hills.
born and grown down.
Really?
That's where we're from. That's where we love to be, and that's that's where we represent and feel at home, is in that kind of area and in that environment. And so we feel very fortunate to be able to represent for Southern Humboldt County.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's kind of
weird to represent hip hop from that lane too.
from that
That's
lane.
why it's such a
and from
weird
that-
lane too. It's like
It's dope that
you're
you guys
representing hip hop from like the most off lane. You know, it's pretty. It's a trip, like almost like rural. I mean,
It's
of course we
rural.
got into it from the weed, the farming, but it's still, that's rural. Like you're a farming, basically. I mean, we never 100% identified as that, but that's like a lot of the, again, back to the culture and the building and the teaching. It's like some of those things go along with that. So.
And the reggae influence,
The reggae,
live
yeah.
music influence, and the poetry influence. So you have all these like spokes in a wheel.
Some of the things that the cannabis community definitely helped to build up. So
Absolutely.
And just, yeah.
I think there's a lot. I want to bet. I'm not down in Soham a lot, but I want to bet that there's a lot of youth down in Soham looking up to you guys straight up for what you guys have done for the hip hop scene in Humboldt County. With a smaller presence being down there, I still feel like there's kids that are probably interested in being involved in hip hop, and that's why we need something like I wanted to give a real quick shout out to this Humboldt Hip Hop Congress that just started. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, we can continue to grow hip hop in this county where we can start to get money for programs for hip hop in Southern Humboldt. Like that's literally a goal for me to see happen as a part of this, is to see hip hop have more presence in Southern Humboldt.
I can't speak to I can't speak to all the kids, but I can definitely say that when it comes to like our core fan base, the people that have been there for 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, that's why we're still up there doing it. You know what I mean? It's because of those connections. Sometimes we perform in front of a bar full of 8 people that we've performed in front of 20 times before. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it any less different or special. We're up there rocking for our hometown.
Represent.
We're still yelling those same names. I mean, I'm rapping the same verses. So what if it's in front of the same people? You know what I mean? That's a trade. That sounds equal. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Once I write some new shit, I'll get a new crowd. How about that?
That's how it works. It's usually how it works.
Yeah, for real. No, that's dope. No, I love what you guys have done and continue to do as representatives of hip hop for Southern Humboldt County. And so, it's only right that as like we've talked about, hip hop is this kind of like more pop culture thing now. Mm-hmm. More people are seeing it. I want to definitely say that. I want to estimate that more people are seeing hip hop than it used to be. And so it's going to be good for us to continue to let people know about the infrastructure that does exist, like the Fatbol Cypher. You know what I'm saying? And, avenues for people to go and just practice.
Right.
And involved.
And to that end, like if you're up here in Northern Humboldt and you want to be an MC, you want to be a DJ, you want to be in a hip hop group, and you want to do shows, and there's all these places to do shows around here, and everybody's booking shows, and you're trying to find it. Go down to Soham. Go check out the Stone Junction in Garberville. They will open their doors and let you rock whatever you want to rock. They're super, super friendly, awesome people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Go down there and open up down there.
Shout out to the Stone Junction Bar.
Yeah,
I mean, when we first started, we booked all of our shows in Arcata. Because we knew, we were like, we already have a solid fan base in Soham. This is where we need to, do our thing. So we were up at HSU and in Eureka, and we made the Red Fox was our second home. You know what I mean? The Red Fox was like our spot. That was
Fox.
Eureka. We're not from Eureka.
Some crazy
but
memories.
we were holding it down.
Stories of the Red Fox.
And that's not to be like we jumped into anybody's space or anything. That's just because it's like we knew that we had to branch out and to get everybody involved to really make an impact. And so I encourage anybody up here to go down there and throw a show and see who comes out, because it might not be. It might be sold out.
Yeah,
they just had almost a sold out show at the Mateel for a hip hop concert that I didn't even see any promotion for.
Oh,
it was all kids.
Bag
was
packed, bro.
with kids.
I didn't see a single flyer for that. Nothing. That thing was packed. So the kids are down there. They want something to do. So there's bars. There's all ages venues that you can perform at. There's different options, and I encourage anybody to do it.
We knew the youth were going to come out for that one. Who would have known?
Yeah,
I didn't even know it was. I was
gonna go.
We were at Stone Junction with
went to
Object Heavy, and I was out
yeah.
performing with Object Heavy that night, rocking. And me and Mika were getting, we're having a good time. We weren't drinking or nothing, but we're just bullshitting. I get home and I see, there's a hip hop show at the Mateel. In our home, like we were in Garberville. We're from Redwood.
Like you said, packed with youths.
That's our town. What the fuck?
People I'm sure a lot of kids from up here too, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it was packed.
It was packed.
So, and that made me feel good. I was like,
kids
okay,
kids are about a bag.
The kids are about a bag.
They are definitely
That's what's up. The kids are super about a bag right now.
Who would have known?
I
mean, it makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I'm on the same level with you guys. I think I saw one piece of marketing that's weeks before the event, and that was it. And I don't know. I ain't talking nothing about nobody. I'm just saying I haven't heard of them.
Nothing about nobody.
So I was like,
in fact,
okay.
Big ups to them.
The Mateel's notorious for that, though. They just pull someone off a tour and be like, "You want to stop in Redway?" Or some promoter will do it.
Man, but what did they just? I mean,
just be like, "Oh, we could stop in Redway."
Yeah. To fill it out like that with at least from what I saw, minimal marketing to fill it out.
He's obviously got a following with the under 20 gang
for sure.
Because they knew too they weren't going to do the show anywhere but the Mateel, probably somewhere they could get that many people in there.
That age, that demographic in there.
That demographic too, yeah.
And shouts out to the Mateel for still opening their doors to all kinds of music that they're going to
big shouts to that.
Big shouts out to the Mateel for that, for recognizing
putting
that.
some hip hop in Humboldt,
absolutely,
Southern Humboldt,
absolutely.
We need that. We need big venues like that have love for hip hop. That's crucial.
Yeah, and we need, one of the things that I would advocate for as far as our scene is we need more legitimate journalists from our local publications vouching for our scene without the use of, charged rhetoric when describing what it is we're doing or letting people know what it is we're doing. Just a vote of confidence from the people that are in charge of writing about us. Maybe, maybe just some, I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's not that hard to do. I don't understand. I feel like now, slowly, as hip hop, like you said, this wave is going on. I've seen things happening where there are local media organizations that are watching. They're seeing what's happening now, whether or not they're coming out and having a presence, which would be important too. Like that would be cool to have, like, whether it's any hip hop event, to have like local media come out to that. You know what I mean? It'll just, that synergy's got to happen, and they're not fostering the right imagery. You definitely hit that on the head. About hip hop in Humboldt County, they're not fostering that. And
no. There's a big, this is something we faced since we were, we've seen, not that we faced it, we've seen it. You know what I mean? We've witnessed it. You know what I mean? We've seen it. Like, you can't be the rapper in Humboldt County. The people are, the people who run the county don't want to put on the big rap shows, the big casinos. The casinos don't want to put on the big shows, the big, we've seen it as it keeps going, and then it's like, oh, now the big venues do want to put on hip hop shows, but they're only gonna have these folks, and they're not gonna have any local acts because but now they're only gonna, you know what I mean? And it always shifts and it comes in waves and it changes, and we've seen it, and it's how it's like a weird balance between white fragility, socially acceptable morality, and the economy. And that's where Humboldt County tries to find itself in a comfort zone where it can say, no, we're cool with everybody. Just don't do this if we don't let you. we don't like it. And if you do it and we don't like it, then we're not going to like, you know, hook you up. And that's something, again, that we've witnessed just being from Southern Humboldt.
Yeah.
I mean, Southern Humboldt has, you know, historically gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to the county and, you know, provisions, taxes, amenities, money for roads, parks, schools, hospitals, the courthouse, anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we've seen that just being from Southern Humboldt. And then you add hip hop to it, and they're like, you're from So-Hum and you rap? We don't want to have anything to do with that. We don't want to have anything to do with rapping from Southern Humboldt. No, just that alone. It's like, what are you talking about? You're Murder Mountain personificated. And it's like, that's not what this is, you know? Mm-hmm. Anyway.
We got to change that image more and more with the media, and it's up to the media to do that, because let me tell you what, hip-hop is not taboo, you know? And so if the media was more on board with just doing even the most basic things, like you saying, like putting articles out that just don't have any charged rhetoric, just like
a picture,
fair,
that alone.
Yeah.
Just paint the picture.
Just that alone.
Doesn't have to be all weird.
Right. Don't have to be all weird with it. And again, we see it just being from Southern Humboldt, where it's like the thugs in Southern Humboldt are doing this. And then you read any sort of hip hop show and it's like the thugs of the hip hop show. And it's like, what language are you using? What, you know, picture are you trying to paint? Because you're drawing these parallels between things that don't exist. So that doesn't, and then you're saying, take this as sufficient evidence of my theory. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's all conjecture.
The freedom of speech and the censorship it's a tough one.
It's a tough one, absolutely.
Just like, it's a constant little balance of it.
And that's why we need like outlets like KMUD, who I feel has been supportive of hip hop in Southern Humboldt County and up here too.
I mean, KMUD, shouts out to KMUD. So much love to the mud. They will let you do anything on the mud. That is just a kingdom of chaos in the mud. I love that.
Shout out to the Purple Basement.
Shout out Purple. Mika had a show on the mud for what, 4 years?
Longer than that.
Longer than that.
5.
Oh, dope.
Restless Rebel, a long show.
They went for
It went for years.
Quite a few years.
Sick. Is that post Subsab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Post Subsab.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yep. I was on the mud spinning hip hop.
And then before that, they had call-in karaoke.
Yeah, that was
which was just the most insane thing you've ever heard of, Dave. So if you are listening to the radio, you can't call the radio, right? Because of the feedback that'll happen. Right? So what the call-in karaoke was they're going to play the song, you're going to call on but there's also a latency issue where you're like behind the music by a couple of seconds, you know, because it's your voice going through a radio and then coming back through your speaker. Yeah. And there's this feedback stuff happening. But on top of that, the person who hosted the show would play a flute while you were trying to sing the song. Okay? And this show was on the air for years. Years. I'm talking anarchy on the airwaves, bro.
Definitely went longer than Purple Basement. Purple Basement was anarchy enough.
It probably was on there for like a good 8 or 9 years. I mean, this show was on there for a long time. It was the craziest thing ever. And it was on, twice a week.
What now? Did it stay on for so long for the element that it was potentially funny?
No one can answer that question.
No one, yeah, right.
No one can answer that question.
Probably
nobody knows what happened to the people on Roanoke Island, and nobody knows why that stayed on the air.
There's a cult following somewhere for that show for comedy in like Russia, obscure internet.
There's some obscure following for that. Totally, dude.
Got it all chopped up.
Oh my god! It was the most insane thing ever, dude. But it was also, it was really entertaining.
So it was Purple Basement.
Yeah.
We used to play all kinds.
So much love to KMUD.
Yeah.
Mad love. Send them your music. They'll find a way to play it.
Most likely. Yeah.
That's what artists
got
gotta
everything.
do.
That's for sure.
Is exactly
All the
is
way.
synergize with, I hate that word, it's that buzzwords, these modern buzzwords, but
That woo-woo.
collaborate with DJs on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Go in for appearance on radio shows like Eli was talking about. You guys went out to Just Right with Goldilocks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Continue
fun.
to do that. The radio is an avenue to get your music, your story, your whatever you're doing out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those underrated, undervalued engines that still exists.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost untapped around here, except for the few, like shout out to Knack One, who was just on Drazar and Droop's show on Humboldt Hot Air, that kind of thing. We need more and more of that. If people are wondering, how people are finding out about that DB About a Bag show, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about the marketing. You got to hit all your different fronts, you know what I'm saying? And so definitely go see radio artists, radio DJs and collaborate,
Yeah, absolutely. So, and shouts out to all those guys that have been pushing our stuff on the radio for so long, all the old heads, all the old DJs and disc jockeys that were out there for so long.
Big up
pushing our stuff.
Dave Wave on KMUD.
Dave Wave, yeah, I mean,
Who else?
Dave Silverbrand. We'll throw it way back. Let's
There we go.
Let's go way back. You know what I mean?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to Dave. So
Dave.
all the old heads, Pete Meyer, all the old radio heads that put us on back in the day. Much love. Much love.
Yep.
Absolutely. Because it goes back to what we're saying about, same with like Rex and all just the representatives of the
more
culture.
hip-hop
We need
in-
those spokes.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
more
We need
hip-hop
those
on the
people,
radio is
those platforms, those supporters, those people that are going to be just like stalwart, engines of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also like it's back to what I was saying at the beginning. It's like if you're just whatever you're doing, if you're out there and you're doing something helpful, however you're doing it, and you're having a good time doing it, fucking rock and roll.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's
And
it.
just adding to the scene, making it, more and more.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you think it's cool, then it's cool. That's how cool works. So just be fucking cool.
And your friends think it's cool. Shit's cool.
Be fucking cool.
That's it. Well, you guys are cool as fuck for coming and doing this pod with me. I really appreciate you guys.
We got baked and just started talking for a minute.
Yeah.
That's the dopest
The
pod
peace
right
pipe
there.
was in effect.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate all the listeners and watchers that have been that watched this episode and listened to it on the Hip Hop Humboldt Podcast. Make sure you tune in to future episodes. Shout out to Eli Fowler, Mika Sun. I'd love to have you guys back. Maybe before the write up too. That
There you go.
That'll
We'll be
be
back.
a dope one. Yeah.
We'll
be
You
back.
guys are always welcome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks again for having us up.
Totally.
Cool
Absolutely.
link up.
All right, fellas.
All right.
Till next time.
I love having you on, Eli. You know what's up, brother. Peace, y'all.
Drop.
Peace.
Peace.